Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do.
Holy shit! What is this crowd? Look at them! What's going on? Hassan Abi, Denims, Sean the Black, Frogan, Noah Samson, Matt Lieb. Where are they? Did they come in later? Wow! What the fuck is this? What am I watching? The fucking Down Syndrome Special Forces.
Consider the fucking thing in our defense, like, actually, Hila's not a baby killer. Actually, accusing Ethan of killing his dog.
Is the audio? The audio is not doubling up, is it? Why is my? Oh no! Is that my headphones doing that? Why is the mic meter jumping with the video? I can't explain this. I think it's. It might be this. Please don't fucking destroy the. Please be okay. Can it do this? Can it just be normal, buddy?
Destination, the beach.
Why is it doing this? Why is... There's a way. There is a button on here that stops it doing that. What the fuck is it? It's the monitoring. No, it's not. Oh, fuck. If I press that USB out button, it might wreck everything, though. Oh, okay, wait. Oh no, I could press this button, but it might just ruin. It's apparently the video normally. No, I can see the desktop audio going through my mic. It's doubling. There is a button I can press that might stop it. But no, I need that because it's USB out. Okay, fuck me. It's not that button. Oh. I refuse to believe. Is that gonna do anything? I don't know.
Which is surprisingly dangerous.
Okay.
Destination, the beach is surprisingly dangerous. Consider the fucking thing in our defense, like, actually, Hila's not a baby killer. Actually,
You have monitoring in Windows open. Oh, I might do. That might be it. No, I don't think I would, though. Oh, for audio. It's not a monitoring thing. It's not. I mean, it could be. I could just constantly fucking mute my microphone on and off. What does this do?
accusing Ethan of killing his dog.
It's the vid. It's not the vid. It's my mic.
Is maybe too far because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group that anybody who says any fucking thing, they will attempt to ruin their lives. And once again, I'm the crazy one. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people.
What we do here is go back.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker in this Austin broadcast coming to you live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I've finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's content nuke, and I'm not going to call it context puke as I normally do because the reality of the matter is it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a...
I mean, you're not. You just support Islamic fundamentalist terrorists and glaze them and make excuses for them and do propaganda on their behalfs. I mean, they're different. They're very different. Okay. So he actually contributed to this video. Is this part of his little narrative that he could do a video essay back at Ethan, but he just won't? Okay.
Vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the content nuke. And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How? Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up. Soon, anyone? Just wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do...
Holy shit. What is this crowd? Look at them. What's going on? Hassan Abi, Denims, Sean the Black, Frogan. Oh, Noah Samson, Matt Lieb. Where are they? Did they come in later? Wow. What the fuck is this? What am I watching? The fucking Down Syndrome Special Forces. Wait, hang on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was... I retract that. Okay, that was very offensive to people with Down syndrome, who, let's face it, were dealt a bad hand and are mostly trying their fucking best. That does not accurately characterize whatever the fuck these retards are doing. Sorry. Never mind. What the fuck, man? It's weird because I had the impression, based on some of the Twitter clips, that this whole thing was supposed to be like an intervention. Like iDubbbz is Ethan's old friend, and he wants to appeal to his better nature and say things like, oh yeah, you know, like, we don't think you're a bad person, you're still a human, this is just you having a bad one, and we're here to remind you that we love you, or we used to love you, and we want you to sort of come back. That's not what this is. This is like someone might have suggested making a video like this to someone that they're bullying when you're like 13, and then gone, no, wait, that's actually kind of embarrassing. You know, like, we're teenagers now. We're not 10 years old anymore. Fuck me. What am I watching? They're doing the thing. Oh no. Amazing.
Do a react content yet, chat.
I'm the same. Nobody's telling you to wake up, Ethan.
Yummy, I love Sabra hummus.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
Wake up.
That was not nice. Wake up, Ethan. Just wake up.
All right. I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hassan Piker. Content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this, in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan. He's the one who fucking attacked first.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a story about Ethan Klein. I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast, with what's been going on over the past couple of years. So Ethan, as you know, is a content creator who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucked up. He's had shows with all sorts of different controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hassan.
I'm so stupid. If the desktop audio is going in through my mic output, I can just play them both at once. I can just do that, and it won't double. Okay. I find it so amazing that Hassan and these fucking clowns are just able to have this effect on people in the internet who are not even really around the political sphere. Like the way that they can just launch all these attacks and accusations at people and still make it sound like they're the ones on the receiving end, or like that they're not the initiators. Frogan's a really good example. Frogan and Ethan, that drama started because Rogan tweeted out on October 7th, basically glazing the attack, calling it a revolution, and being like almost like frustrated because left-wingers who support revolution at home were mad at one happening in the Middle East. And then Ethan unfollowed her, called it out on the podcast, and then she just crashed out for 17 months. He just unfollowed her over her glazing Hamas. And then she crashed out for 17 months. Like that's how that happened. But the way they've managed to retcon that whole interaction to make it seem like he was the one aggressing on her, it's mental. That's absolutely insane. Yeah, he didn't, I think even him bringing it up on the podcast didn't happen until after she was like, oh, Ethan unfollowed me. Blah. Like, so he just unfollowed her. That's wild. That's absolutely insane. Okay. Yes, I do remember the Zionist therapist. Hang on. Let's just see if this works. I'm going to see if the audio works while I'm still having my mic playing.
Sean Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now in his podcast...
See, can I just have both playing through one output? Is that working? Is that working when I just do it like that? They're both just coming through the mic output now for some reason. Let's just try that.
With Hassan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers, you trans women. I say, oh no!
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hassan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
Palestinian people living in the West Bank are subject to these horrific conditions, horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, that dance he invented was so kick-ass.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that may be a war crime. It literally is.
I was just eating the toppings, and the pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all disgusting.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 2021.
Why?
It's insensitive to burn victims.
I think it's a good analogy. It's a powerful image.
Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more...
So the evidence here is Hassan just doing a couple of like surface level headlines on what's happening in the territories. Okay. When was Ethan voting against Netanyahu? Was that in 2020, 21? Okay, that's good. Should we not? If we're going to be accurate, though, where's the? Can we not get the clip of Hassan trying to find Yemen on a map and clicking every single country in the Middle East before finally settling with the last one which was Yemen? Ethan was so unprepared for this. To be fair, Ethan probably was unprepared for the idea that, like, describing all Israelis, half of the Jews on earth, as military targets was kind of just like an acceptable position on the left, like on the far left. That it was actually just like, even if you disagree with it, it was like an acceptable disagreement. You know, it was like, we're still roughly aligned. We're still mostly on the same side. We want the same stuff, but we just disagree on this one thing about whether or not it's okay to militarily target 6 to 7 million Jews in the Middle East. Ethan was probably unprepared for that one. Oh no, this is bad. I got that the first thing that came up was r/destiny, so it's completely invalid. They should have thrown this one in. Where's this clip?
I don't know which is which, dude. Close the cookies. Oh yeah, true. Doesn't know where Yemen is. Okay, I'm gonna click close. I'm closing it. I'm closing it. Nope. 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 Got it. One of these.
He did get it, I guess, after going through Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan. Okay.
Of the goof guy, and that's fine. You know, we don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic. Ethan was obviously caught in this tricky situation where he is extremely sympathetic to the Israeli cause and what's happening to them. His wife's Israeli, she served in the IDF. He obviously likes the state of Israel. On the other hand, he's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hassan. Hassan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into. So when
Fuck me. Okay, so before we even get into the crux of any disagreements or the arguments that these two have had over the conflict, let me just preface by saying that Hassan is a politically savvy veteran in political commentary, especially in the Middle East. And Ethan, you know, his wife's Israeli and he likes Israel, and he's a fucking drama moron who does little comedic skits whilst Hassan was seriously engaging with the Israel-Palestine conflict and doing in-depth analysis. Okay, let's just get the well filled up before we start, eh?
see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're going to call it out.
From the river to the sea essentially means the state of Israel is going bye-bye.
So this massive progressive audience that Ethan has...
Is he going to say why that's wrong?
You know, adopted over the years, they're becoming increasingly critical of his position because now he's talking about it, not on leftovers. He's now talking about it.
What?
Out.
From the river to...
Like not, they're very keyed into. So when they see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're going to call it out.
From the river to the sea essentially means the state of Israel is going bye-bye.
So this
that's your example of something that's not accurate and it's just propaganda? That is literally true. What are you talking about? If it's from the river to the sea, from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, that means there's no more Israel. What are you talking about? What's the spin on that? Oh, actually, from the river to the sea, what that really means is it really means that it'll just be like a federal system and one state will be Israel and one state will be Palestine, but there'll be a federal country. What the fuck? That's not what that means. Does Hassan disagree with that? Does he think that from the river to Hassan wants to abolish Israel? If he's saying from the river to the sea, that would mean that there's no, it's Palestine. It would be Palestine. And that's what they say as well. You know, even if you want to believe, like, you can go for, what is it they talk about? The Hamas charter, the new one, which isn't actually a new charter. It's just, it doesn't replace the old one. It's not even called a charter. In any case, even this one from 2017, which is their attempt at moderating, even this is, Hamas rejects any alternative to the full and complete liberation of Palestine from the river to the sea. No part of the land of Palestine shall be compromised or conceded, irrespective of the causes, circumstances, and the pressure, and no matter how long the occupation lasts. Is that... That's what they think. They think Palestine is an Islamic state from the river to the sea. That means Israel's going bye-bye. What's wrong about... Palestine is an Arab Islamic land. What? Do you want to go older? Do you want to go to the PLO? Let's have a look at them. Palestine is the homeland of the Arab Palestinian people. It is an indivisible part of the Arab homeland, and the Palestinian people are an integral part of the Arab nation. Palestine, with the boundaries it had during the British Mandate, is an indivisible territorial unit. Well, that would mean one state from the river to the sea with no Israel. There's an interesting passage here that I couldn't remember from earlier. Forgotten about this one. Article 20. The Balfour Declaration, the mandate for Palestine, and everything that has been based upon them are deemed null and void. Claims of historical or religious ties of Jews with Palestine are incompatible with the facts of history and the true conception of what constitutes statehood. Judaism, being a religion, is not an independent nationality, nor do Jews constitute a single nation with an identity of its own. They are citizens of the states to which they belong. So there's an Arab state. There are Arab states of Palestine, or otherwise in the Middle East, but there's no Jewish nation. Jews are only citizens of the states to which they belong. What a stupid contribution from iDubbbz. What the fuck? There's also Finkelstein, who took issue with this phrase as well for that reason.
I agree with the slogan. I'm going to be candid with you, and I don't make any claim to infallibility. I'm simply stating, based on my long experience in politics, I don't agree with the slogan, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. It's very easy to amend and just say, from the river to the sea, Palestinians will be free. And that simple amendment, that little amendment.
That's because... Okay, whatever. He wants to amend the phrase because Palestine will be free suggests there's no more Israel. And for Finkelstein, who cares very much about international law, will tell you that there is no international law for abolishing Israel. It doesn't exist. So you would change it from Palestine will be free to Palestinians will be free. Straw man argument loner. What's the straw man, Mr. Hempseed? Seed of hemp. What's the straw man? iDubbbz literally used Ethan saying that as an example of something that was inaccurate or propaganda. What? The idea that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free means that there's no more Israel. That is true. That's 100% true. Even if you're a single one-state democratic and all that, that still means it's not Israel. It would be something else. Rip. Ian didn't give his opinion. He presented it as a clip, as an example of Ethan being wrong or inaccurate or doing propaganda. You fucking idiot. God, this fucking... Apparently the dislike ratio in this video is pretty big, so yeah. So far, 7 minutes in, you have to be fucking mental to... What a strange start. There are things that Ethan has said that are inaccurate about Israel-Palestine. He's made a lot of mistakes when he's analyzed the conflict. I just don't know, why would you use him saying something that's objectively true?
Massive progressive audience that Ethan has, adopted over the years. They're becoming increasingly critical of his position because now he's talking about it not on Leftovers. He's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that when you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super racist, crazy, like Jim Crow style of society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, Bibi fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hassan, all of these different...
Yes, thank you for summarizing the entire mindset of these communities, Mr. Hempseed. Who cares, bro? Who cares that this guy just had the confidence to launch himself into analysis of a conflict he clearly knows fucking nothing about? Well done. Who cares what they call the land as long as they're all equal in law? The people who live there probably care, because an equal state for two people is not what the Israelis want, nor is it what the Palestinians want. Look at the polls. You colonizing fuck. Neither group wants it. It's the least popular version of a final settlement that either group wants. Neither group wants an equal state for two people.
People. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy...
So they're both wrong. Yes! Fucking Governor Ratcliffe from Pocahontas in here. Bye-bye.
Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits, and everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently. Even though he looks like Millhouse, fucking dork.
Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful, fucking... And I'll say it, and I'll double down on it. And people... Oh, no? Did I not go there?
And it's all culminated, at least for my story, in Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hassan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way in the form of Hassan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this stupid. It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. And also he's way out of my weight class.
He didn't like that, but fucking sometimes you gotta just throw something out there. I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because he was in the circles online that I was in. And one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content, he liked Ethan's content, until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, you know? Like, I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed my old friend. Some wings are too bird feathered colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year. Now, my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the C word. He said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese and a bunch of other shit, I'm sure. Ethan, at some point, discovers that iDubbbz's former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking...
No mention of CPS. Well, you know. We can't upset our new friends too much, can we?
Question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem if Ethan was discovering this content by scrolling through Twitter looking for something to upset himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need to send him this information, and that would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't fucking trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit, when there's no work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place? If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's an account whose intention is to make Ethan crash out. One of the users on the Snark Reddit points this out. They're like, I've seen this account before.
Okay.
This account has scraped its...
Oh, it's a Taliban. Okay. God, it's so funny that they just use all these tactics that you could never get away with using against them, could you? You could never get away with going to someone else and being like, oh, I don't know about that criticism you're using against me because it's derived from a crazy person. Like, you'd never, because they would just say, well, they're your words or something like that. So dumb. But it seems like this guy's pretty deep in the mud, though, isn't he? If he's looking at snark and finding out which Reddit users. This is a lie. The person's exclusively an H3 fan, never posted on r/Destiny. Oh, well, whatever. Not, it doesn't fucking matter. But okay, I guess if they're lying, why not?
History, and it's now trying to make Ethan burn bridges. This is within Ethan's own community. Like, this is the thing that he needs to be critical of. It's not me. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty, uncharitable, and fucked up towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter. But Ethan and Hila are doing the same shit on their podcast. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
Terrorist supporter.
The CEO of Twitch.
Pedophile.
Now I'm going to...
Wait, but Hassan is a terrorist supporter. He supports groups that are recognized as terrorist groups. And they also, even if you don't like terrorist designations by the United States, like, yeah, whatever, it's stupid. They engage in action that anyone would describe as terrorist. They target civilians for political goals as non-state actors. Non-state actors who target civilians to push a political outcome. That's terrorism. So there's the most basic definition. Okay.
Watch and respond to the 2 podcast streams where Ethan and Hila call us spineless cowards.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and iDubbbz's feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening? For all you know, I only use the For You tab. For all you know, I only use lists. For all you know, I'm seeing these things.
Wait, but you were saying that someone who posted some kind of like rage bait comment on the H3 subreddit was actually a DGGer because that was found out on Snark. That sounds like you're pretty deep in. But now you're saying like, oh, maybe I didn't see it. I didn't know this was happening. What? Is he trying to have is he trying to have it both ways? I guess that's the thing that people do, right? Like people will go absolutely fucking balls deep into some argument or some aspect of something that they think suits them. But then as soon as you bring up an example that they don't like, then it's like, oh, I don't know about that. I never heard about that. Like, I'm just a passive observer from a safe distance looking, just getting sad at the madness. What the fuck?
Things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not going to throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment. Just like I'm not going to throw Ethan Klein away because he's having a parasocial weird crash out.
How many women I fucked? Hassan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Hassan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, that's what I'm... Wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure, who have unfollowed you for the things that you've said and done. And I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away.
So far, none of that was proof of him being parasocial. If it's someone that you used to be like real life friends with, how's that parasocial? Not how parasocial works. Parasocial is you guys liking me and thinking I like you. That's parasocial. This isn't parasocial. The fuck?
They've had some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless. I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life. It's that people outside of this group, journalists, creators, are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting at here. Like, yeah, people are gaslighting you. A lot of people gaslit me when I apologized.
It's funny because he's doing the gaslighting as well. He's actually done the gaslighting to an extent that's probably more blatant because this is a scripted video. How can you be like, oh, I did a lot of research into this one person who made this post that made Ethan triggered on Reddit. And then on the other end, it's like, how am I supposed to know what's going on in the Twitter feed against you? Like, come on. You're gaslighting. You scripted gaslighting. Gaslighters don't normally script, right? A gaslighter will normally just, like, they'll say what they need to get out of whatever situation that they're in, right? So they'll be arguing with someone and then they'll maybe talk about some hyper-specific event where they think their partner or their friend did something wrong, but then someone will bring up a reference from the exact same event. They'll be like, oh, I can't remember that. You expect me to remember every single detail? Like, they do it in real time. They don't script it ahead of time. Like, what the fuck? Okay.
That was actually like the #1 type of harassment I got, was people gaslighting me and taking my newfound woke ideology to its extreme.
I've probably done and stood by iDubbbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing. I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
Could you not say something when this is like, imagine like one of you guys is like, Hassan actually wants to go to Israel, go to Gaza so he can strangle Israeli babies or some shit like that. I'd be like, you imagine me not saying something.
You're trying to make a one-to-one comparison where there isn't one. This guy that I follow on Twitter is not in the same relationship as you and one of your current employees who is streaming with you 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for the past 10 years. At one point during the stream, Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does basically the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty towards them.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear. That guy is a piece of shit, like, of the lowest order.
Whoa, disappear? Disappear. What a choice phrase coming from an ex-cast member of Fauda. Disappear. Or you're gonna pretend to be an Arab and go into the mosque and kidnap them. Disappear.
I never even stood by him when he talked bad about Trisha having a kid and called him like the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our side. I would never even co-sign that. I was disgusted by that statement too. I remember when he called her kid the spawn of Satan.
I never said anything
And
like
I was
that.
supposed to be like cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's disgusting.
Why do we forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of Satan?
It's disgusting.
And
a piece of shit of a human.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
Unfortunately, they never made a statement. They never said that they disagree with his statements about Trisha's baby until it's useful. Like, what is it, 3 years later? Like, I mean, you're talking about it like you were aware of it at the time and that there was some amount of pressure or enthusiasm for you to get down with that. And what it sounds like to me is that you did see it at the time and you were like, ooh, I don't like that. And you didn't endorse it and you didn't fuck with it. Huh. It's almost like that is a fucking identical situation to me.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
So yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they're trying to like paint themselves as the good guys. And they're saying like, yeah, we strongly disavow things that are said, even about our enemies. We are the most immoral people on the internet. Unlike Ian and Anissa, who are fucking keeping to themselves. Also, why the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia.
Is it just this whole video just going to be fucking iDubbbz? Is the name Ian? Oh, I don't know. Is this whole video just going to be iDubbbz grabbing like singular sides from a pretty long drama where there are hours and hours and hours of back and forth, and just selecting a bunch of bits from one side and being like, Ethan, why are you so out of control? Like, even though these examples are not even fucking relevant, like they're not even really saying what he's trying to say. Sorry, where's the equivalent of Ethan like spreading shit that results in a fucking CPS call and people in chat talking about it as well? Or where's the equivalent of Ethan defending people who literally think it's okay to target civilians? Like, what?
How the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia. You're friends with him. And you don't have to say anything, but like, what a fucking piece of shit. What a bad friend to put you in that position just for some fucking clout. It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit, okay? Olivia did not do anything. And
I want the pass. Do I have to be an employee to get that treatment? Because then you'll just see me as an ally? Or is it because Ethan is afraid of wrongful termination accusations and lawsuits?
And also, I don't mind putting my friend Olivia, who's apparently my real friend, in a terribly weird, fucking uncomfortable situation where you end up getting hate for no reason.
Also, don't frame it as like other people making it hard on Olivia. You're making it hard on all of these people. Please acknowledge your role in this whole fucking thing.
Wow,
Like
holy shit, man. I love that because I know that there's this whole thing where people like Hassan, unlike his followers and his orbiters, Hassan tries to keep a good relation with the crew because he thinks like they can be saved or whatever the fuck. But like, or because he just has the sense to think that even if like everything about Hassan's narrative was true, like these people still have jobs and shit. But it's the fact that he's isolating in a sense. Yeah, it's definitely not it's not the fault of the people who harass your crew. It's definitely your fault that they're getting harassed. What the fuck? For them being there by proxy? I know Olivia and AB both said that Ethan was a good parent and wasn't like letting the kids fucking roll around in shit or whatever. Wow. Am I literally just watching? I don't know. Like these guys just use like fucking primary school bullying tactics. It's so insane. And it's the fact that like fully grown adults watch this and like believe it.
It's crazy how warm Ethan is to Olivia and saying how Olivia is essentially just a victim in this whole thing.
It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit.
But me and Anissa are spineless. Ethan, your whole system is scrambled. My intention isn't to throw the employees under the bus. Like, you guys serve as the fucking foundation for calling out Ethan's hypocrisy on the whole subject. And I know that you guys have probably pushed back against Ethan over the years. How often are you supposed to do that? Do you have to do that every fucking week? It kind of seems like it. And that's exhausting. I don't want to confront my boss. It's not my fucking job to confront my boss and say, today's segment on rapists and pedophiles on Twitch was not like my favorite segment to be a part of.
Yeah, friends like these.
Oh yeah, and our other good friends.
Yeah.
Anissa and Ian. Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times because like why would I not? It was crazy.
Yeah, why would you not? I mean, if that's truly what you believed and you weren't just going to use it later.
Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane.
Wait,
It's
what?
absolutely insane and disgusting.
You only stood up for them so you could use it later. Or no, she's referring to something that she did that she's not getting reciprocated. Wow. God, it's like everything you do is just framed with bad intentions, eh? Wow.
But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish.
Oh my
For anyone
fucking
unfamiliar,
God.
the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF.
Holy shit, bro. What? Half Lebanese, half Irish, 100% white. Wait, where's this person? Can I see this person speaking? They have a podcast together, don't they? They do a little show where they sit in two little fucking armchairs and talk to each other. Lebanon, bro, what the fuck? Can I do this as well? I should do this more often. Yeah, well, as you guys understand, I'm half Lebanese. And we go through a lot of oppression, mostly from Hezbollah and the Axis of Resistance. Just defer to me on everything. What? Hang on. iDubbbz, Anissa, is it iDubbbz? I just want to hear her speaking, okay?
I think that's one of the things.
Just talk. Just talk. Is this her here? Where the fuck? I don't. Is it just him for the entire thing? That was Ole, that crazy fuck. All right, where we are. Where are we? Sam Hyde. Apparently, she's only 8% Lebanese. What? Okay. Wait, did she not have a Lebanese parent or? Where is she? I don't even know what she looks like, man. This is so difficult. Is this her? Is this her?
I'm legitimately confused because I swear to God, like a month.
Is this the person we're talking about here? Is that right? Her father was a Lebanese refugee. Okay, then the 8% thing doesn't mean shit. Okay, she's half Lebanese. Okay, let's see. Let's go. The Irish thing is fucking mental.
Month ago, everybody was saying like these big apples make you attractive, but now everybody's saying that smile lines make you ugly. But how do you have the big cheeks without smile lines?
What does? Okay, so she's either American or Canadian. That's what she actually is. Okay, good. All right. What the fuck? Okay. What does that have to do with what, with not wanting to stand up for Ethan and Hila if they've done the same for you? What does being Irish have to do with that? Irish. Irish. What? Okay. Was she there in the Troubles? The potato famine? God, it's like being in America and someone was like, "Oh, my old man was Scottish." I'm like, "Yeah, you're American. Fuck, like, stop. You're not. It's illegal. It's the same shit."
Oh, Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, "Please defend me." No, we're not gonna fucking defend you.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
Do we have that
I
one?
mean,
Like,
just the other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are
How
pissed
short are these clips? What the? Okay.
about.
He looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, a lot of people are.
Do we have that
I
one?
mean,
Like,
just the other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
he looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, not.
So yes, you caught
Bro,
us.
this is so tiresome. How many times do people have to do this clip? This is also that clip is such a good example because it just shows that they don't actually give a fuck about changing her mind or anything. Because Hila literally said that she wouldn't have said that had she known about what Gallant said on October 8th or 9th. She took it back like within what, 48 hours, maybe even less. But we're still going to keep using it. We're still going to keep using it. Also, I guess because iDubbbz won't bother explaining it or elaborating on anything. The reason she said that about Gallant and the reason that Gallant was dismissed in large part was because Gallant literally was trying to push for an approach to the war in Gaza that was different from Netanyahu's in a way that was actually much more, that would have been a lot more alleviating towards the Palestinians in Gaza. Because Gallant's whole thing was that Israel's military achievements in Gaza were kind of like maxed out almost a year ago now. It would have been summer. And he kept saying that like this thing of trying to just keep bombing and bombing and bombing until Hamas is completely gone is a lost cause. And he was arguing that there should be a more withdrawn approach because there's no day after. And Gallant was trying to push for either a day after or just pull out of Gaza and try to focus more on negotiating for hostages. Because people in Israel they have a hard time reckoning with this, but it's true. Total victory against Hamas versus get the hostages back. These are kind of slightly incompatible goals, or like the ultimate thing that you would have to do to get rid of Hamas is different from the best way to get the hostages back. These are different things. So if you prioritize hostages, you might have to enter into a deal that preserves Hamas's power, or at least gives them breathing space to regroup. Whereas, so Netanyahu's thing was always, fuck the hostages, we're getting Hamas. Whether he says it that way or not, that's his thing. Gallant was wanting to put the hostages first, and putting the hostages first would mean giving more breathing space to Hamas, and also, by extension, less airstrikes and less bombing and less suffering in Gaza. Which is also not even to mention the fact that Gallant, when it came to the situation of Biden pushing for more aid to go into Gaza, Gallant was on board with that. He was actually one of the ones who said that, yes, Israel should put 500 trucks of aid into Gaza every day. He was saying that too. Which is kind of strange, because obviously the 500 trucks thing is kind of like a little bit inaccurate, but Gallant was one of the ones pushing for that. But because he said that on October 8th or 9th, he said there was a total siege and they're fighting human animals and all that shit. People just write him off forever. And like, it's not like Gallant is a good guy, but in the Israel-Palestine conflict, people have no problem calling people good guys when they are better than what we're used to. So people will say Marwan Barghouti is a good guy for the Palestinians because he's a really popular leader. He has shown flexibility in the past. He's shown a willingness to compromise with Israel in the name of peace. But he's also a murderer. He's also overseen murderers of civilians. Like, so, but it's okay to call him a good guy. It's okay to say that at one point or another, Arafat was a moderating person because he spoke to the UN and he renounced terrorism and he said that he would recognize Israel. Like, even though he was a murderer as well. Like, he was leader of the PLO when they were literally targeting civilians by crossing the border. But it's okay to do it for that. It's okay to say it for Mustafa Barghouti, even though he's kind of like a bit of a Holocaust denier or Holocaust revisionist, but he's also a non-violent activist, which in Palestine is a pretty big deal. Like, I would vote for him, even though he's fucking mental. Like, yeah, it's just a stupid double standard. But yeah, obviously no engagement from this guy. We're just going to use that one clip, even though Ila's already disavowed it. Okay.
We're not going to run to your defense when, I don't know, we follow people. We be following. That's one fucked up thing that you can say about Anissa and I is when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
So,
the problem.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
Is he really going to frame that as like following? Like they just wanted an unfollow on Twitter? No. I don't even know. I haven't seen this part of the drama, but like, I feel like what they wanted would have been something like just a disavowal of what was happening, or even just like maybe taking the side of Ethan and Ela in the sense that they're not like shit parents who are allowing their kids to eat feces. Because I think they were real life friends. Yeah, but yeah, just no show of support. Eek. But you know, we have to hedge because I've got Irish ancestry. What the fuck? Can Ethan do that as well? Ethan and Ela are, what are they? Oh yeah, they're Jews. Yeah, the most hated minority in fucking the last 2,000 years. The most persecuted, murdered, like hounded minority in the last 2,000 years. Double standards, man. Fuck. Ian and Anissa have been to Ethan's house and met their kids, by the way. Yeah, I thought they were quite close.
People like Denims.
I know. Yeah.
Which I'll show.
With
Denims is actually participating in this whole child protective service lie.
Yeah.
Oh, now they're just making it about Instagram follows. God, it's so gaslighting, man. So fucking manipulative.
If you're friends with them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Ela start talking about this Denims character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Ela for the past year at least. They only care about it now because
Ela is Iraqi and Libyan Jewish. I didn't know that. Damn. But we don't care about those oppression points, right? Because any oppression they suffer is actually all because of white Zionists. That's really what that's all about, according to these guys.
Because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people. Kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core? People can have crash out moments.
Well, you can just watch crash out. You can just watch what they're saying and doing. If we're talking about oppression, wasn't Denims literally Denims was one of the people who was trying to say that because I think her background is partially Moroccan. She was trying to say that like Morocco was only persecuting Jews under the French. Like there was no Muslim oppression of Jews before the French. Bro, in fucking Morocco. Like in Fez, where you can look this up. In Fez, where the Jews basically they all had to live in these kind of like very segregated little communities, like the equivalent of like tiny little ghettos. But when the Jews would try to when they would intermingle with the Muslims, there was a street where there was one of the mosques, and there was also like different streets that had different like Muslim sanctuary sites. And for quite a while, I think it was 1700s, where Jews were not allowed to wear shoes when they went past these buildings or on these streets. So they had to wear little straw shoes. And when the fucking Sultan of Fez tried to allow them to wear shoes when they were crossing past the mosque, people attacked them. People like assaulted them because they were so angry about it. That's just one example. Like Dimitude was not nice. It was not nice at all. And also, blaming all on the French is really rich because most Moroccan Jews did not leave under French rule. Most of them left after French rule. Most of them left after independence. But okay.
People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know. I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me than the other.
I just don't see how you can be my friend and also be friends with.
Actually, many Moroccan Jews went to France. Most Moroccan Jews went to Israel. Algerian Jews went to France. The Moroccan Jews, the ones who went to France because there were transit centers in France, and then they went from France to Israel. Like what? Moroccan Jews mostly went to Israel in the end. The Algerians went to France. Anyway, bathroom. What an incredibly shit video. What the fuck? Whoa. Hello.
With someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way, where it's like, you know, one of the friends doesn't fuck with the other friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of fucks with both of them, but separately. Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that. I'm not gonna make you guys like meet up and kiss or anything. I get it. You guys are in fucking, you're either my best friend who's deep-throating me to the base of my cock, or you are Satan. You're the devil.
The last thing I said to Anissa, we were texting before I ever talked about it. She's like, I don't care about this guy. He's a nobody. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, then you'll have no problem.
Wait, is Hangnail saying she wants to give historical context about iDubbbz? Okay. I can't. Do I want to open up Discord, though, and risk everything falling apart? It shouldn't. The sound card might kill me. No, we're not doing it. Fuck that. Later.
Publicly denouncing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, the conversation ended.
You never replied.
Ethan, you can't even phrase it in a way that doesn't make you sound like you're being coercive and shitty. Well, then, you should have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? Does that sound like a friend? It kind of sounds like something a powerful villain would say.
You could also just watch old videos as context. Which old videos? Of iDubbbz? I thought iDubbbz like said the N-word and he was edgy and shit. Isn't that him? And then he cried about it. Is that it? What context? What else do I need to know? He said the N-word, but was edgy, said sorry and cried. And now he's compensating by being a fucking woke shithead. It's the same, he's basically just got the same mindset and he's turned it on its head.
But it was so funny how she immediately went to comment everywhere, like on our subreddit. She immediately had to comment like, "Oh, he doesn't work with us anymore."
Then
but that was it. That's all she said.
But then say that you don't.
Okay. Do you have
agree.
anything else to say for your friends, though?
One of the reasons Anissa was so quick to clarify things in your Reddit is because your Reddit was already talking about who this editor is, and they were spreading misinformation that it was our co-host on our podcast, Uncle Dane. So yeah, the last thing we wanted is this guy getting pulled into this mess, and you guys don't give a fuck. Would it have been nicer and more supportive to say, we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say. Our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out. And then maybe we can find a moment in time, I don't know how long it'll be, but a moment in time in the future where things are a little bit easier to broach. I don't think we need to do it right now, but you've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story.
It's funny because isn't this just a crash out then from what the fuck? So they called him out for not being supportive, despite him being a friend or for both siding or whatever. And now he responds with a 1 hour by aligning with all of Ethan's enemies and people who have literally like gone after his personal life and made fucking speculations about his kids and shit. That's a bit of a crash out, bro. This is such a, also, we're almost halfway through. He said absolutely nothing of value. He has said nothing. What the fuck is... He's made no argument. He's not really substantiated anything. He's just trying to say that, oh, Ethan's the one who's bringing all this on. A bit of both sides in, but mostly Ethan's fault. With a few 3-second clips that are definitely not all from Snark.
Story. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice. I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not do harassment campaigns and instead talk about Vampire's Kiss.
Like they say something like he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
She actually
thinks they have a point.
Hey, Vegan Gains, how's it going? Wait till the Sabra bit. Oh, I love the Sabra bit. They're just I can already hear it in his voice now. These are just Arabs talking about hummus, bro. Ethan, you're losing the plot. Oh no.
Point.
That's the problem.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
Whoa.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit? Like, this is nasty. We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens.
I mean, you apparently were sitting in your hand when one of the people you're collaborating with now was spreading disinformation that resulted in a CPS call being made on Ethan's family. But
You're perpetuating it.
You fucking propagandist, lying scumbag, terrorist supporter. He probably sets up a mirror and jerks off watching himself. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar
Wait,
view
what are
on
these
him.
clips examples of? I missed that.
We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens, and you're perpetuating it.
You fucking propagandist, lying scumbag.
How is this harassment? This is him talking about someone and insulting them on a stream is harassment. Oh god, it's so gaslighty. It's so gaslighty, fuck me. Bro, you're the harasser and it's just them calling them a cunt. Like, mate, that's not... Fuck me.
terrorist supporter. He probably sets up a mirror and jerks off watching himself. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite.
You can't expect other people to stop harassing you if you continue to harass people.
Wow.
Let's think about it on a micro level. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of like a line, what happened today, that should never be crossed, even by like the most cynical.
Just to be clear, given that I am currently harassing iDubbbz, I guess, by calling him a moron in this video, we do. That's not what harassment is. If that was all it was, if it was like Ethan calling Hassan like you fucking terrorist supporter with your love for Houthis and Hezbollah, and then Hassan was like, "Oh, Ethan, like, why are you still supporting the genocide?" Blah, blah, blah. Like that would be cringe and annoying, whatever. But that wouldn't be what's an accurate reflection of what's been going on with these guys for the last year. That's not what happened. Not even close.
Toxic people. It's going to have ramifications in terms of how I conduct myself. In terms of these fair weather friends who are, you know, so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ethan, that is a rich thing to say. Like you're the H3 podcast, okay? There's a lot of friends of the show. There's even more fair weather friends of the show. Let's not get into this shit, okay? That is so bizarre and insulting to suggest that I was only ever being friends with you to get something out of it. No, I'm friendly with you, and I'd say I'm a light friend because it's been pleasant hanging out with you. I've enjoyed your content over the years, and as of late, it's gotten really fucking shitty.
I mean, that's what it looks like, though, because a real life friend doesn't do that shit. It's unless you're in school and you realize that like betraying your friend might help you get in with the popular crowd or whatever. But that's what he's done. There's no, I don't know, maybe he's just like incredibly fucking stupid and he actually believes like sincerely that Ethan is the nucleus of this is the instigator of all this harassment, and he's really just doing it to himself, and he's like actually crashing out because his wife is Israeli and therefore he doesn't know anything about the conflict. Like, but no, this is him who's just literally dropping someone as soon as it's become inconvenient for him. And it probably helps him as someone who seems to have been someone who was edgy and then has tried to get over it and move past it by apologizing and crying. Has probably just gone the complete opposite way and just enacted all the same toxicity that he was doing in the past, but from a woke left perspective. Seems to check out.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Who else? Who else do we want to burn today?
Who else do we want to burn today? You're making it so fucking obvious that this is your this is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are. There was a way to approach it.
Or it couldn't possibly mean who else is shitting on us today or who else is betraying us or whatever. Okay, yeah, good. Very selective use of the language there. Okay.
To say like, yeah, we feel hurt by you guys not saying something.
Oh, but maybe iDubbbz doesn't understand. Oh, you realize that Hila is from a Middle Eastern background, she's from a Middle Eastern Jewish background, so she's gone through oppression, you know, by and he should understand it coming from me as well when I explain this, because I, as a Lebanese person, has had to endure the Ottoman suffering, you know, because the Ottoman Empire caused famines in Lebanon. You know, there's a pretty bad one in World War I. 100,000 people died, and not a large country, you know. I'm just very generationally triggered by a guy collaborating with Hassan and being friendly with him. It's so stupid. But I'm not Irish, so I can't do the double. You know, Scotland was still pretty much allies of the colonial empire. So, bro, I don't get that one.
You've decided to do the extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but I feel very insulted and I feel defensive and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you and a lot of people who have been on the receiving end of your harassment.
It's so easy to be anti-racist. Everybody's anti-racist. Racism is the worst thing in the world, right? We fucking hate racists. Fuck racists.
Microaggressions.
The minute that they actually have to stick their neck out for somebody, the minute they have to actually risk something to put themselves in under scrutiny, to sacrifice something personally to stand up for racism, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I don't want to get involved.
And that's drama.
How much do you care?
I don't do drama.
How much
Sorry.
do you actually care? If you're, isn't that the whole point? Like,
I realize that Ethan and Hila are more scared now than they've probably ever been. I feel like anti-Semitism is a thought in their heads now more than ever. And it's not completely unjustified to be thinking about that sometimes. You guys are just hurt and you're kind of like dancing around and making very like loose, poorly thought out analogies for something that doesn't even apply to us. It's like me making this video.
Yeah, I understand that it's a thought, yeah, that you're thinking about it. Listen, I can completely understand. I can completely empathize with the idea that anti-Semitism is something that you think about sometimes. Fucking hell, man. But even if this is supposed to be his attempt at looking empathetic and I guess like the omni-woke, why did he do that beginning with all of like Ethan's enemies dancing around and fucking giving him the finger and shit? Why did he... What's the tone of this video? What's he going for? I know what he's going. He's going for the best of all worlds. That's what he's doing. This is that thing where people try to just like he'll land all of his like sick ass dunks and his like condescension and all the like basically just like bullying tactics, like with that video at the beginning. They'll do all that and then halfway through they get the best of the other world, which say, listen, I'm just approaching you from one human being to another, okay? We don't think you're evil, okay? We just think you're going through a bad moment now. After you've just spent the entire thing like being bad faith, using clips out of context, like dunking and being incredibly gaslighty and also just being like cruel. Like it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Why is he doing this now?
Standing up for something and it's saying fuck
it's just
you.
Like it's like that perfect marriage, it's that perfect union of like soy and toxic. Like fuck me,
you guys are being bad. You know, I don't think you're bad people, but you're being
why are
bad.
you saying pre-watched? Oh, because of how the video ends. Okay, I was talking about this. Okay,
You're behaving poorly, you're hurting people.
I mean, go back to the civil rights. You think that the people who are like the white kids who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were just like not risking anything? Those kids who are marching with the black students and...
So in Ethan's analogy, he's the black student and I'm the white student, but I'm the white student that's not, you know, marching by his side. I'm not doing the difficult thing. You're gonna have to march on your own, black student.
Marching with the black students and...
I mean, why is it inspiring? Why is it inspiring?
Well, and it's the same thing, to bring it back to Hassan just because, but it kind of is the same thing. Like, I was thinking about going to Gaza until I found out it's dangerous. He's a total performative activist that doesn't give a single fuck about the cause.
Whoa.
It's been performed exquisitely. Harassing one person and seamlessly transitioning into harassing another.
Yes, that's harassment now. That's what harassment is. Yes. When people talk about being harassed online, that's what they're talking about. Someone said something mean about them in a podcast. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's the entire... And both sides are doing it.
Past fucking year, I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hassan.
Like people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with Denims. Denims is streaming this story about our kid
I'll show that, yeah.
getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I'm sorry. I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people's shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say something to Denims? Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys wouldn't like if we said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want. We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for
But
saying
that would be commendable.
Yeah, so speculating about someone's family and speculating about a situation of child abuse happening in a way that results in your chat saying that you should get law enforcement or CPS involved, not quite the same as dunking people on a slot podcast. Okay. How do you avoid this level of audience capture? I don't know, Sigma?
Which kind of, and by the way, it kind of speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is claimed, they're, they're actually good people, like that's going to get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your
maybe Ethan and Hila would have cared. Okay.
Fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's
Yes, it
difficult
does.
and standing by your principles. That's the whole point. That's what makes standing by your principles admirable, is that it's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are? I get, like, we're a little bit past directly.
Just so we know, this guy is about to learn exactly what it's like to become a lapdog, because my God, if this guy steps out of line with the fucking Hassan crowd, he is so done. He doesn't look like he would, though. He'll probably follow them right to the T.
Naming me, so we might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles. Now we're going to talk about the BDS list. We're going to start off with Frogan because obviously this is like as bad as it gets. If you're following Frogan, that can only mean that you're anti-Ethan. Oh, this is not a good start. Love of the H3 podcast. You are following Frogan, so that means that you are anti-Ethan. Sam, more.
What is this straw manning? What the fuck? I'm pretty sure I still follow, like, I unfollowed Hassan because he was being annoying. His tweets were annoying me. I think I still follow Denims on Twitter. It's not about following. Why is he doing this? Why has he just invented this standard? Is it because in a stream where he was talking about multiple different issues, but following was just thrown in there as one of them, he just decided to laser focus on that? Yeah.
Hi, friend of the show. Olivia, Ian, Daily Dose of Internet is anti-Ethan? Jesus, this is fucked up. Pokimane, comment etiquette. Oh shit, Asmongold's in here? Asmongold follows Frogan?
Base.
No, Asmon. That means you're anti-Ethan. That's fucked up. We're gonna wanna avoid these creators at the top of the list, but one tier below them are the creators who associate with them. They're essentially endorsing all of their statements. You got me, you got Anissa, I think Hassan's in there. You'd think that Hassan would be on the top of the BDS list, but that's not the case. Hassan provides additional value for people. Ethan can turn a blind eye to people collaborating with Hassan because that's what he did. You gotta be the lowest of the low to be associating with the Frogans and the Denims of the world. To associate with Hassan, that just makes sense because he's famous and he's got a massive fan base. Also, Ethan still follows Hassan on Instagram, so Hassan is in his feed.
And that's showing up right up on us Nissa's and iDubbbz's feed.
It's important to remember that this is a living document and people can be removed or put onto it depending on how Ethan's feeling that day. You have this other tier of creators that exist below Hassan but are still anti-Ethan, but Ethan really doesn't want to bring your attention to these ones.
I'm sorry, I refuse to believe it. This person is an idiot and they talk like an idiot and everything about them just screams, I am a fucking idiot. But This person doesn't actually, like, iDubbbz doesn't actually think that following someone is the issue. He doesn't believe that. This is just bad faith. This is just like intentional. This is very intentionally just looking for something to focus on because it was said in a much wider context about much more serious things. This is obviously intentionally disingenuous.
Is kind of unpopular, you know? A lot of them are famous. It's no coincidence that Ethan stays silent when these powerful, popular men are supporting Hassan. It's because Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians because they have power, they're quick, and I think he knows that they don't fuck with his ideology. But he's gonna keep that to himself because the last thing that he wants to discover is that people that he respects and looks up to, they don't fuck with him.
Bill Burr came on. It was like the worst fucking show. It was just horrible. That was like my lowest moment on podcast history. We could talk about Bill Burr, ruined my life. Bill Burr made Ethan go on Lexapro. I was prescribed it and it was in my bedside. And then it was the Bill Burr.
Okay. Maybe I do have to go into Discord because there are things, there's important context. Oh no. Let's give it a try. If it wrecks the mic, I'm so sorry. I think we can make it. Come on, give me strength. Okay. Okay, we still have a microphone. Okay. We still have a microphone. We're all right. We're managing. Okay. This is the CPS context. Okay. Thank you. Why is it 6 minutes? Fuck. No timestamp.
So recently, Ethan Klein was visited by CPS because weirdo freaks online are trying to push this narrative that Ethan is an abusive parent and
This
his
is
kids
iDubbbz
are
comment,
being
okay.
mistreated. About expecting anything genuine from these two is just wishful thinking. Instead of continuing just to stay out of the conflict, they decide to speak about it and why they're staying out of the conflict. Let's see what they have to say.
This is for a very specific subset of people who are very upset in my DMs.
Yeah, so Ethan's upset with, I think, some of our connections. And, you know, we've tried to reach out to Ethan to talk privately. Basically, it just seems like we're at a bit of an impasse. So we want to stay out of the drama as much as possible. We don't want to pile on and add to anything. So this is our, you know, lukewarm addressing of it.
I didn't want to choose a side between people I know, despite one side clearly being in the wrong.
We don't condone harassment of any kind.
Yeah, but isn't it quite clear now that after all this, it's clear that you agreed with Hassan's side and his friend's side more than Ethan. That's actually why. So was he was lying here? Also, everything she says we can excuse, right? Because I know she appears to be the whitest of white Canadian American, whatever the fuck. She's actually Lebanese Irish. Okay, she's a, you know, she is currently coughing up blighted potatoes and getting bombed by the IDF at the same time. Okay. So if she says anything stupid, it's okay.
Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hassan's stream and he mocks your content nuke,
I actually saw a really interesting video about you, man, and I don't know that I'm even comfortable being here anymore.
Oh no!
It really kind of shed light on you in a way.
Yeah,
you kind of like have leftist politics and stuff like that, and I actually feel betrayed.
Yeah,
and so I'm actually just here to let you know this is the last time I'm ever coming.
you don't fire back because you're coping. So you're just going to tuck your tail between your legs and never mention on your podcast that mentions everything. You're bringing up some fucking connection I have on Twitter. Someone mocks you on a stream, you're not touching it. Fuck you, you're a coward. It's just his job. It's just what he does for his job. You know, he doesn't mean it. We're actually good friends. You know, he makes fun of everyone. It's not just me, right? Oh, also, I can't forget about Matt Lieb. Matt Lieb is in this like middle tier.
Oh, shit.
His valuable association is Rhett and Link. So Rhett and Link, conveniently, are also in this category of popular and powerful men
who Ethan does not want to burn bridges with. Although he's sniffing.
Okay,
He's
before we get into Matt Leave, apparently this is very important context, okay? Hangnails, what's the important context? What are we waiting for?
So, are you familiar? How familiar are you with iDubbbz?
I've said everything I know about iDubbbz in this current React.
Okay, so are you familiar with 2016 iDubbbz?
Nope. Edgy, I
Okay,
guess?
so yes, so kind of. Yes. iDubbbz was most famous for these content cops, which were basically just like takedowns of like really easy target like mid 2010s era YouTubers like Rice Gum, Leafy is here, Tana Mogo, or however the fuck you say her name. But he also, during these videos and other videos of his, what attracted the most controversy is that he would do some questionable like things. Like, for example, during this era, he referred to his fans as N-word, F-words.
Base.
And then like, which is not good, but like was not unheard of during YouTube culture at the time.
Yep.
And Ethan Klein was friends with him at this time during this 2016-2015 era. They were in this like whole group, this cabal, you could say, of like edgy YouTubers. So it was them, it was iDubbbz, it was H3. Do you know who Filthy Frank is?
No.
You don't know who Filthy? What the fuck? So Filthy Frank, okay, that's another edgy YouTuber from mid 2010s. Him. Who else? Max Mofo. Other people you haven't heard of. The point is that they did a lot of edgy content together. They would collab in real life, and Ethan and iDubbbz have maintained a friendship since then.
Okay.
But around like 2020, like during the whole like, you remember when Shane Dawson got like canceled for being problematic?
Oh yeah.
And a bunch of other YouTubers were like, I disavow all of my mid 2010s content. Guys, I am the most sorry I have ever been that I did blackface in 2012. iDubbbz took this as an opportunity to essentially come onto YouTube and disavow all of his old content. He came onto YouTube and he was like, guys, at the age of 30, I have learned empathy. That is what he said. I learned empathy. And I disavow the way that I said N-word, F-word on YouTube, on a public platform. I disavow the way that I burned the Quran for a meme. And a lot of people read that. I didn't have an issue with this. Like, I thought it was like, okay, yeah, sure, you probably should not have been saying the N-word in 2016. Thank you for acknowledging that. Let's all move on with our lives. But there was like a controversy about this, of course. Like, I think what's his face, Moist Critical was like, he didn't need to disavow his old content. Other people were supportive. I don't really care either way. Anyways, Ethan Klein stood by him. Ethan Klein said the N-word for iDubbbz. And there's also, during this like 2020-ish era, this is also the point in which he starts dating Anissa, his now wife, right? And iDubbbz received a ton of hate for his relationship with Anissa because Anissa had the audacity to be an OnlyFans girl. So people were essentially calling him a cuck, right? Because, which is like, I don't particularly like Anissa for this whole stuff, but I like, that's just misogyny, right?
Yeah.
And again, Ethan and Gila stood by iDubbbz. And the problem with this video is that, or one of the many problems with this video, is that IDubbbz Ian is just completely undercutting how close his friendship with Ethan was. They had been friends for probably over 10 years at this point. Like, and good friends. Like, as Ethan points out in his react, like they knew each other's families. Like, and you're throwing this all away for a bunch of like two-faced, like lefty slop tubers.
I mean, that's the vibe I'm getting from this video. Like, it's just a slop video, which is funny because that whole sphere, I believe, has already started watching the thing, haven't they? They've all watched it and reacted to it and boosted it. I don't know. I feel like there's this thing that people do where they look like they've made like a huge U-turn, but they haven't made a U-turn at all. People who did all that crazy like edgelord content, say like 2016, or like I don't even before 2016, because I didn't watch YouTube that much back then, but I watched TV and I knew what shows were like, and I knew what just regular culture was like. Like, it was socially acceptable to say the N-word every now and then and shit like that, and also like T-slurs and all that stuff. Yeah, it was a different time. But I think what people who have done this kind of like 180 thing is they're just playing by a, like, it's the same mindset, but it's just slightly different rules. Like, they still engage in the toxicity, they still engage in like harassment and like gaslighting and all this, and like team sports and all that, but they've just chosen a different side. It's like a lot of those like ex-Muslim commentators who basically just find a new home in people who fucking hate Muslims, and they still think like these like these people who call themselves like they were ex-jihadis, you know, they used to support terrorists and all that, but then they completely disavowed it, and now they're like ally with Tommy Robinson and shit like that. It's like, well, yeah, you still think like an extremist, you've just switched over. I don't know, I feel like that's the same thing with this. Like, he's just kind of, he doesn't look like someone who's learned anything. He's just gone for like the new opportunity, I guess, like the new trend, which is this shit apparently.
Yeah. But anyways, somebody pointed this out to me. The Froggy guy, the old editor, he was the one that called CPS, allegedly.
Oh, really? I didn't know we knew
Yeah.
that, but okay, if that's the, how do we know, what's the evidence for that?
Somebody told me on Discord.
Okay. That's
Not a high standard of evidence.
not a high standard of evidence. Okay. Well, I don't
Uh-huh.
know. People in chat are confused, so yeah, probably not confirmed. Wow.
Okay, allegedly.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Listen, that was an opportunity for growth, okay, and you took it.
Is there anything I'm missing? I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm
Okay.
gonna let you go back to the react now.
I feel really caught up. Thank you. All right, take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Sniffing around.
This guy, Matt Lieb, he works for Good Mythical Morning. Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, who apparently is a producer for Good Mythical Morning. Well, this guy works for Good Mythical Morning, acting like he's wholesome, and he's bringing on somebody that wants to kill my wife or interview him. And I think he should be fired, frankly. And I hope he is fired. He's pathetic. And he interviewed a fucking, basically a terrorist.
I think Ethan only respects power right now, which is one of the reasons I made this video in the first place.
Well, that's
because
completely not engaging with it. Okay.
he thinks I'm weak. He thinks a lot of these other creators that he's gone out of his way to attack, he thinks that they're weak, and he thinks they're a target that he can bully, he can manipulate, he can send lawsuits to. And I want him to know that we're not going to be bullied. You're being a piece of shit, and we're going to call you out.
So here's the button. You've got a video and you've got an audio. We're hitting.
Is born again woke a term? No, but it should be, right? Yeah, that's very like a serial killer who goes to jail and becomes a born again Christian, and they're just the most obnoxious fuck. And then they have the audacity after they've murdered people to go and tell everybody else fits fit. Set everyone else straight.
Both.
What am I watching?
Yes.
There's no point.
Let's leave.
Yeah, there's no need.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Oh shit. How pathetic are you? Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I don't like.
What's the button?
Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach. You'll be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. Yes, please. I want to be a good Jew. I'm a good Jew. Please, guys, please. No.
I'm just seeing Ethan's weight loss adventure. He looks great.
Yeah, I don't think it was that.
That was fine.
Big a deal. Of all the things that
Anywho.
it always surprises me what you think crosses the line.
Well, I looked at Olivia and she's like, yes, do it.
Now let's talk about the button. Ethan got this button, or kill switch, as a response to the controversy with Cutie Cinderella. He was not able to control himself in that moment, and instead of figuring out how he can change his behavior, he spent $20,000.
Dan and Ela were like, we would kill button that right now if we could. I can't change who I am.
I know. That's why the kill button is on its way.
That's it. See, exactly.
He uses the button for everything. If his jokes don't land, he's hitting the button.
It was being presented as if the Jordan crying thing.
I hit the button.
Why?
I don't think I needed to, but you guys were giving me crickets, so I panicked.
If he's insecure about getting something wrong, he's hitting the button.
But okay.
You
what? Button for that? What on this frame could Ethan have responded to? Perhaps the country flag that he got wrong? Maybe. I don't know.
If he goes on a problematic tirade, he's hitting the button.
Before, look how sad. But yeah, it's not just that. Like their eyes are like big. I think you guys are wrong on this one. I think you guys are all wrong on this one.
Oh god.
I don't think he's unique in hitting the button. I think
this is you, mate. After what I've just heard that iDubbbz has done in the past, are we really giving a fuck? Like, come on.
all of us had buttons, we'd hit the button all the time. But if you don't have it, you operate differently. You think about what you're saying. You maybe plan for your show a little bit more. You maybe say, I'm not going to have my podcast be an emotional dumping ground for today. You instead say, ooh, it's important that we stay on topic. Also, the H3 community and Ethan himself use the phrase goblin mode all the time to excuse a lot of his shitty behavior or make it seem less bad.
I've been diagnosed with goblin mode, actually.
By claiming that what happens is he just gets into this like uncontrolled state he refers to as goblin mode.
I do not goblin mode.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's this person. Oh god. I still don't have my react to her shitty fucking hit piece that mentioned me. I still don't have that. That was the worst hit piece I've ever seen in my life. Might be second worst now, or third. I don't know. We've seen a lot of really bad hit pieces lately. Oh no. Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. You did.
Goblin mode? Is that what you're calling Tourette's now?
To all victims of goblin mode, I would like to issue an apology.
You are goblin mode today. You're goblin mode. Look how many times you paused the
I'm trying,
video.
bro.
And I don't think there's no room for using the term goblin mode. I like the idea that you're defending yourself and the little guy by going goblin mode when a big corporation or a big entity is trying to attack you.
Like, if you fuck me over, if you steal money from me, if you patronize me, if you do any of this shit like you're trying to do to me, to treat me like a fucking idiot, I'm crazy, dude. I've gone fucking goblin mode over way less.
But you not thinking about what you're saying, not, reflecting on your behavior, not changing your behavior, that's not goblin mode. That's being a child. Let's talk about the crew. I think the crew has been put in the worst working environment that you possibly can be for a fucking podcast. Every crew...
Man, I feel so bad for these crew members. The shit that they have to deal with by proxy. And it's like, it's always the same shit as well, because iDubbbz said it earlier in this video. They always say, oh, I don't really want to get the crew involved. They should really be kept out of it. They're good people. Excuse me while I bring up the crew and draw the spotlight on them. Fuck me.
Crew member has it bad. To be around Ethan, period, would be a nightmare right now.
I'm standing by every fucking syllable of that, okay? What she did was abhorrent. And by the way,
Just don't. Listen, your critique of her is correct. It's just, you know, people are sensitive about women being called that word. And so...
Like, how pathetic are you? You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm not assuming his pronouns. And fuck all these people. Go ahead.
They do it with Palestinians. Why not do it with Ethan's crew? I'm still, those anti-Hamas protests have not stopped. They're still going. They're still going, despite some of their leaders getting murdered by Hamas. They're still going, despite Israeli bombings still happening all around them. They're still deciding to bring their attention onto Hamas and protest against them, try to get them out. I'm still yet to see any substantial coverage on them from the likes of Hassan or anyone in that sphere, actually. Pro-Palestinian, eh? It's actually it's such a gross injustice that they get to adopt that label. Like, what the fuck? You don't give a fuck about Palestinians, man. Like, it's just a narrative. You just care about a narrative that's like more Al Jazeera than Palestinian, but okay. Fuck me. Gaza speaking. No, sorry, we're going to watch Al Jazeera instead. We're going to listen to Qatar. Yeah.
Head.
No,
and I'm
no.
not yelling at you. I'm just... Kelly is a black woman, right?
Yes.
Maziel is a...
Korean.
Oh, Dan, come on. You're being such a buzzkill. Yeah, I didn't know Korean. I asked if Koreans are POC. God.
You know, Dan's in the bathroom. Let's just not do this right now.
I asked if Korean people are POCs.
The one time the button didn't work and we listened to how he spoke to
Oh,
AB
no.
without thinking that the internet was going to hear it. It was rude, it was nasty, and it didn't have this caveat of like, I'm not mad at you. It was anger.
Now wait,
And
if this is what I think it is, the one that the snarkers were going after, there's no way. I feel like if that's the clip that he uses, this just tells you so much about these people and their audiences, but we'll see.
It was
Maybe it's something
uncalled
else.
for.
Use they get access to cover most of it.
We're doing it.
What are you
It's so
doing?
awkward and terrible.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Just like, this is what I'm talking about when it's always like...
We need to get home for our kids.
It's like, bro.
Oh no, I didn't want to finish it right now. I was just talking about finishing Wednesday.
Friday, maybe. Is it? You guys, like...
All right, I'm taking my hand off the...
Ay.
What? Okay, well...
I heard all that.
Thanks, Button.
And he didn't want to take accountability for it. He immediately wanted to deflect and he...
What? This is what okay. I feel like this is the most illuminating part of the video. This tells you, right? This tells you. If that's your opinion of a bad employer, if that's your impression of what a bad employer is like, or someone who's impossible to work around, or someone who's too, like, who's disrespectful to people they work with, mate, this is like, not only, so this is just the hardest evidence that none of these creators have ever worked a real job, and neither of anyone in their audience. It's just a bunch of fucking privileged fucks with a privileged fuck audience who has never had to take any shit from any boss anywhere ever. Just arbitrarily deciding what a bad employer would be like. Fuck me. No wonder. It's no wonder they have such a dominant presence on the internet, because what the fuck else are they doing? What else are they doing? You're used to working with musicians as a producer. I've also worked for bosses, though. When I was quite young, yeah, like I worked in shops and fucking all that shit, yeah. And even when I was teaching, I had an employer. What was the worst job you ever worked? Stacking shelves, bro. Working at the tills. My boss was a fucking hothead. He was mad. But I mean, working with musicians as a producer, well, that's the other way around. Because as a producer, working with musicians is more like, you're basically more like a therapist or a childminder for working with bands. Especially when there are egos going around. But that's unbelievable that you would think that that clip is a sign of anything. Or if it's just one of these kind of like collective delusions where they all just hate Ethan so much that they convince themselves that this is like an example of him being a bad employer. Why don't anyone in the crew actually say that then? It's not like, because every single person in the crew now has realized that there's probably a bit of an incentive to to turn on Ethan, right? There probably would be. Like even Mike said that he would make AB big, like a kingmaker. Wild.
You want to say that the button fucked him.
First of all, I appreciate the hard work.
I know
you've
you
done,
do,
and
I
I
know.
loved it, and I really enjoy it. But it's like every time we do it, it's like the show is what it is, and
I know.
it makes it.
I was being selfish.
No, dude, that button. Me,
Wow.
Dude. Can you imagine that button me over like that?
The button fucked
What
you?
a
AB
terrible
fucked
employer.
you?
What a
Who
disgusting fuck, man. See, the purpose there, and this is the thing that you'll encounter with employers as well, is that if an employer is going to tell you off for something, because again, they can, that's part of being an employer sometimes, is you want to sometimes like put someone in their place, or even just, that wasn't even that though. That was just him like disagreeing with something in a slightly like marginally pressured environment because they wanted to get home early or something. That's nothing. That's like, but yeah, you would press a button to do that and hide that because you don't want to like embarrass them in front of the public or whatever. Yeah, Ethan wanted to get home and AB wanted to keep going. That's it. It's nothing. Nothing. Like I've had to do that a couple of times where an employer was giving me shit and I was like, wait, why are you saying this to me right now when there are like customers around? Like you should, we can talk about this later when we don't have an audience. And I was like, you know, shit like that. But that's quite basic. Is that what we're talking about with a button?
fucked you. You fucked yourself by being an asshole. He makes it seem like he's not a tyrant of a boss.
We're doing it.
A tyrant.
Awkward and terrible. I appreciate the hard work.
No, sorry, all these people, absolutely all of them. No, get a job. Just stop. The people on Twitter as well. I don't know. Like, just get a fucking job. Snark, get a job. Hassan fans on Twitter, get a job. Denims, Mike from PA, Sean DeBlack, Noah Sampson, all your fans and you, get a job. Get a job. Work for a pissy boss who is probably the only person in the room more stressed than you. And you doing your job properly is basically what their well-being rests upon. And they take it out on you, and they're paid shit, and you're paid shit, and the customers are shit. Get a job. Fuck me. It's really the only way. It's the only way that we won't end up in this situation. Join the military. There's only one other resolution.
Airstrikes. Bombing.
I don't know. It's just, fuck me.
And I loved it, and I really enjoy it.
Dan, his producer, is constantly clarifying things on the air and making it clear that what Ethan said was a joke. Ethan is being overly defensive, or he's saying things that are like not true and he's exaggerating.
People saw that. They thought that that was what you searched to
I did
pull
not
up that photo. So I'm just clarifying.
Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate you doing that. God forbid.
Because I buttoned it.
Why?
Because
it's not that big of a deal, man.
Just
Like,
your
how
inability to.
No. Hold on, Dan. How does it change anything? People knowing that we did it.
It's fun when it's a surprise.
Okay, well,
Well, you just asked how it changed
Surprise
things.
them on your show.
Okay, all right.
You know, I understand that that's his role, and he's, you know.
Remember when it was about saving Palestinians? Not really.
Ethan's made that his job, or Dan's
I don't
made it
remember.
his job. Ethan leans on it so heavily. In the same way that he leans on the button. Ethan is leaning on all of these people to be adults and look after his behavior and give all of this emotional and empathetic energy for Ethan, but Ethan refuses to give it back to them. Also, let's talk about AB and Lena, two Lebanese employees. And you
Hey,
just continue to talk about
Lebanese, let's go. Heck yeah. And as we all know, the Lebanese people should always take the side of the person who supports Hezbollah. Yes, the people, actually, because they all fucking do. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what Lebanese people do. By default, if you're Lebanese, you're supporting Hezbollah. That's normal. That's what happens over there in that country. That's definitely reflected in their current governmental makeup. That's why their president is who he is right now, and their prime minister. Fucking hell, bro.
conflict, like they don't exist. It would be nicer, a lot nicer, for you to shut the fuck up about it. You're allowed to do that.
Hezbollah in Syria alone killed double that much.
See that there? That was, if anyone, since these guys can't do the engagement, I might as well do it for them. That there was a bad thing. That was a bad argument, because Hezbollah have not killed twice as many people in Syria as Israel has in Gaza. If you want to take Assad and all his allies combined, which includes Hezbollah, then yes, they have killed more people, a lot more. Most of the deaths, like between 80 and 90% of the deaths in the Syrian civil war, especially the civilian deaths, were inflicted by Assad and his allies. That's just a fact. But Hezbollah, it's really hard to put a number on how many deaths like were actually caused by Hezbollah themselves, because their presence in Syria moved in and out. That's it. But that's an engagement you could make. And then someone can argue that's not, are we just splitting hairs then? So what, they helped the guy who killed all those people far more than have died in the entire Israel-Palestine conflict combined? Maybe not. You know, Hezbollah took a side, they made their choice. They made it proudly, actually. They supported Assad with all of the enthusiasm in the world. And he did correct himself later, did he? Okay.
All right, I'm going to move on. I just want to play Hassan talking about that.
How likely would Assad have been to succeed without their support? As far as I know, I've heard arguments that make it sound like 50-50. Assad did look like he was on the back foot before Hezbollah intervened. It seemed like the intervention from Hezbollah was not so much numerical, but more logistical. Like they plugged a lot of very important gaps in training and experience and key areas of like key units that were not really well represented by the Syrian Arab Army, because the Syrian Arab Army was trash. So yeah, I don't know. They probably saved Assad. Maybe, I don't know. Definitely would have been. It definitely would have been harder. Assad would have been in a much more difficult situation without Hezbollah, for sure. Pretty sure with Russia alone they'd be okay. But Russia didn't help them in 2013, did they? When did Russia intervene in the Syrian civil war? That was later. When did Russia intervene? 2015. Yeah, so no, it wasn't Russia that would have saved them then. 2013 was when Hezbollah really got involved. Hey, we got the super chat goal. Thanks, guys. Augers. Let's go through them. Chiro Bandit, thanks for the 19.99. I really appreciate that. Jotun, thanks for the tier 1 sub. IJI Productions, thanks for the $5. Mold was invented by the English as a breakfast condiment. Yes. Fast and Bulbous, thanks for the $5. Chicken jockey, okay? Don't know what that means. Sir Durf, thanks for the £10. Happy virtual housewarming. This is as good as it gets, okay? Man, this flat is fucking huge, though. It's such a... I'm really happy with it. It's been a fucking enormous stress, but once it's all together, I'm going to be quite happy with it. Lawson Harrison, thanks for the $5. The iDubbbz vid is totally worth watching. Pure good faith and definitely not a copy-paste of all lefty Twitch IP vids. Well, I mean, at the very least, people like Mika's Rhetoric or Noah Samson and all that, like, at least they tried, you know? They made an effort. This guy's done fuck all, unless it's all concentrated right at the end. Seabugs, thanks for the 5 gifted subs. Michael Z, thanks for the $10. Money for you to get a producer. Wait, what? For the audio? Don't worry. Fine. Anthony Super, thanks for the $4.99. Not gonna lie, the new content cop is the worst video I've ever seen in my life. Godspeed. I'm kind of starting to feel that. Dwayne, thanks for the $5. I'd seen this and it made me angry. Want to give spoilers and anger to rant, but instead I will give you $5 and smolder. Hey. Thorn and Dr. Octobong, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Savage, thanks for the $4.99. Good to see you, Loner. Did you finally move yet? Yep, that's me moved. Newman, that's a tier 2 sub. Galeki, thanks for the $4.99. Entire videos like this. Pretty impressive, honestly, how blatantly bad faith all the arguments are, while still maintaining righteousness. Short Stack Goblin, thanks for the 50 Swedish. iDubbbz background is more purple than yours. Fix it. Wow. 3DS2 Max, 23, thanks for the $10. Housewarming gift. Oh, you guys are so kind. Given the amount that I've had to spend on this move, thank you very much. Debugs, thanks for the $5. Could I please get boxed in? Yeah, I'm thinking about it. One day. John H, thanks for $2. Feels like this was just ghost written by Hassan and Co. Like, no, it's because they all get their arguments from snark, so it's probably all that. Dwayne, thanks for the $5. I want to say sorry for the 8% comment. Thought it was referencing a great grandparent, not 23andMe gene expression. Okay. Uber, thanks for the $5. iDubbbz is the first person to be smarter when he shouted racial slurs. Okay. Baron Zemo, thanks for the £5. To add what this lady is saying, iDubbbz made a video justifying the use of the N-word. Ethan was an N-word guy, but Dubs was the N-word guy. Wow. Savage, thanks for the $1.99. iDubbbz dropped the hard R as a bit, lol. Will Kane, thanks for the 35 Hong Kong dollars. The things you pick up on as you watch are point by point identical to Tiny when he did this reaction. Now we know where our welfare dollars go. Lawson Harrison, thanks for the $5. Lonerbox, you're acting like being a brown shirt isn't a full-time gig. Whoa. Punish Foxo, thanks for €2. Remember when it's about saving Palestinians. Nathan Denny, thanks for $5. Does Ethan know how shallow the points he's making are, or does it not matter to those that hate Ethan, don't care about the arguments being made? Yeah, I don't think they care. It's just bullying. It's just bullying tactics. Literally, just like watch any fucking film or show that involves a fucking kid getting bullied at school. Like it's not like you can fucking debate your way out of it. You know, that's not how that works. It's not like you explain yourself to them and they're like, oh, well, I suppose I might just leave you alone then, son. All right, on you go. Like, no. Ryan, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Congrats on the new place. Love your work. Thank you. Jane Socks, thanks for the $15. We need a good 90-minute stream tuning segment. What, like you already haven't, you had a great one just a minute ago. Shut up. Okay. New goal, guys. New goal. I've been off streaming for a week, okay? We gotta compensate. Compensate to fuck.
Bad empanada.
Ethan doesn't want to change, and he wants to bring the entire crew down with him because he's putting them in this position every day, right? But it's more important that he gets this shit off his chest. It's more important that he dumps. We're all familiar with Goblin Mode. Well, Ethan debuted a new mode recently.
And by the way, my ratio is pretty good. Like I'm looking at like 20 goblin modes to 1 too far. Demon mode, let's call it.
Wow.
What makes demon mode different than goblin mode is goblins aren't really like an intimidating, powerful force. If the goblin is persistent, it can get what it wants.
When I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full attention is going to you, George. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you.
Is iDubbbz not going to say anything about what Banapanada's takes are or what he's done? Or is he just going to intentionally omit all of that for some interesting reason? Okay.
Out there, you fucking cockroach.
Ethan, the reason the internet got behind you when you were being sued by Matt Haas or when you were being sued by Ryan Kavanaugh is because people saw you as the underdog. They saw you as the guy who's defending the common man.
I'm suing, and I cannot wait for you guys to read it. At the moment, we are writing 3 complaints for 3 people.
You are doing the classic rich asshole thing. You have a deficit of friends, you have a surplus of enemies.
Wow.
You feel really bad, you feel hurt, but you also have a surplus of money. So what can you do? You can use that money to bully and intimidate people. These public legal threats that you're making to fellow creators, these legal threats that you're making to people on Reddit, on Twitter, you're like, I'm hurt. These people are hurting me. What do I do to stop it? There's nothing
Okay,
I can...
if you believe that, then why don't you just engage with what the legal challenges are? Just be like, here's why I don't think this is defamation. If we're doing Noah.
Can do to stop it? I'm powerless. No, you have a ton of power. You have a ton of options. You have a ton of choice. That's exactly what you get for being filthy rich, is you can do all of these things.
You know what? It's like how I feel about so much of this. It's like the Israel-Palestine content, and I say it's true on both sides. It's like if you watched, and I don't know why I never thought about wording it in this way before because it's so obvious. Say with Noah Samson or any of these if you only watched their videos on Israel-Palestine, you would not even know that Hamas even existed. Barely. you would barely even be aware of who they are or what they do and what they believe. Like you wouldn't know when you, so, because for example, if you hear like Noah Samson talking about the pager attack, he'll just be like, well, Israel carried out a terror pager attack where they bugged these pagers and the 2 8-year-olds died. I was like, really? Is that all that happened there? What? You wouldn't know that Hezbollah were the ones who fired on Israel on October 8th. You wouldn't know that Hezbollah embeds themselves in civilian areas, making it very hard to target them without hitting civilians as well. You wouldn't know that the overwhelming majority of people who were injured and taken out of combat by those pager explosions were Hezbollah, and Hezbollah admitted that. You wouldn't know that the complete majority of people who were killed by those pagers were Hezbollah. You wouldn't know any of that. You wouldn't know that Hezbollah has basically committed itself to an endless war of attrition to try and destroy Israel. When their leader, Hassan Nasrallah, has basically openly said that he wants like Jews from Russia to go back to Russia and Ethiopian Jews to go back to Ethiopia. You wouldn't know any of that. Same with Hamas. When people talk about Gaza, it's like they always talk about the destruction and the loss of life, which is important. You should talk about that. You should talk about the number of deaths. You should talk about the number of women and children who were killed. You should talk about the amount of like damage that's been done and how irreparable so much of it is. And you should talk about all that. But don't talk about it and just not mention a thing about how the entire strip is fucking laced with booby traps and tunnels, and you've basically got a de facto military government in there that built themselves up to make Gaza into the most fucking impenetrable military fortress per square meter in the world, in like world history, basically. You wouldn't know any of that. You would just think they're just like some passive entity. So by the same token, when I see iDubbbz making this video, all you see is you would just think that Ethan was randomly lashing out at people who disagreed with him. That's all you would think. You wouldn't know about the CPS call in any detail. You wouldn't know about Bad Empanada talking about how he like wants to fucking kill Hila. You wouldn't know any of this shit. You wouldn't know about how Frogan was the one who crashed out because Ethan quietly unfollowed her on Twitter after she was glazing Hamas. You wouldn't know why Ethan calls people like this terrorists. Not because they're brown, it's because they support terrorists. Like, you wouldn't know any of that. So even if everything iDubbbz here said was accurate and true and good faith, which it's not, even if, it would still be a dishonest representation of what's happening. Like the selectiveness is so unreal.
Do someone for defamation, but like at what point? Like, at what point do you kind of fucking have to? I mean, this is like basically someone calling you a pedophile. Be like, yeah, no, Ethan's a pedophile.
Dan Clancy or whatever, like the CEO of Twitch, and being
pedophile. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi.
Okay. Ethan should not be calling Dan Clancy a pedophile. Okay, that's true. You shouldn't be doing that. Even if it's the case that all these wankers would call anyone else a pedophile if they were seen doing the same thing. Because I think Dan Clancy was like, didn't he have like a Pornhub fucking account where he was, didn't he have a Pornhub account where he was only looking at, where he was basically exclusively looking at teen porn? And he was also caught looking at a bunch of fucking booby streamers on Twitch. But again, that's not like, you shouldn't call him a pedophile. It's a very strong charge. He said in the longer clip, it's obviously a joke. Did he? If that's true, then send it to me. I don't think it's untoward for Ethan to use hyperbole when he insults people. It's a problem. I also didn't agree with him calling fucking Denims a bitch because, again, it's not just her who hears that. You know, it's like women in the audience who hear it as well, and then men who hear it in the audience, they think it's acceptable to start calling fucking women bitches when they cross an appropriate threshold. And but the full clip is in this video. Really?
Fucking anti-Semite. There are certain things you can accuse people of that rise above to make it like actionable, which is like wrongfully accusing someone of being a pedophile, a sex criminal, a murderer, shit like that. Dan Clancy now, in other words, he is a pedophile.
You have so much less to go off of saying that than anybody has about Dream.
Based on his looks.
His son is based on his.
Well, at least you're self-aware.
That's 100% a joke. I have no evidence to conclude.
Oh, okay. So it's in the
One
video.
of the more
Wow.
notable legal threats that
Is
Ethan
he
has
so? Is iDubbbz, is he dishonest or is he just incredibly fucking stupid? Does he not realize that by providing that context, that makes him look like he hasn't got a leg to stand on? That these are the examples of Ethan. Okay.
has sent out recently is against Noah Sampson.
I have nothing but vibes to gain, and potentially your money as well. Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I'll garnish your wages. You're going to be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. 26, you know what I mean? Try 46.
Noah made a video that was critical of Ethan and other content creators when they're talking about Israel and Palestine. I mean, the way he's talking about Noah on his podcast is so fucking creepy and weird.
Is this a new thing?
This is a new thing. This happened during the show. Upon initial examination, it seems to check out, and it's not great for young Noah.
Can I say that? Don't say it yet.
I'll say it.
So he's a rape. So of course his standard. I don't know what he's accused of, so I'm not actually going to say. But
Ethan brought on a former partner.
No, I cannot come to your Israel-Palestine class at Brown University. What the fuck? Why are you saying that? I'm going to go and do a tour. I'm going to go and do a fucking live tour. Why am I going to Brown University? What? Stop.
Of Noah to basically just shit talk him and say that he's a bad partner. But that's all that Ethan was able to extract out of it.
you are not accusing him of committing any crimes or doing R-word or anything like that. The accusation is that he's a sleaze.
Absolutely. Noah
Yeah.
Sampson, as far as I know, is not a rapist.
Fuck you to Noah Sampson, who's not just a liar and a scumbag, but also a creep. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Now let's talk about the left-leaning Democrat.
He presents himself as someone like me.
Yes, I only visit white universities. Thank you very much.
Left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was suggested to talk to Sam Cedar, a fellow progressive, a guy that Ethan respects and looks up to.
He works with Sam Cedar.
Are we going to include
report.
Hassan's clip here about how he felt like he needed a fellow Jew to speak to him, and Sam Cedar? Oh, that was so funny, man. Fuck.
I respect him and what they do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to suggest that he talked to someone who's within the same ethnic group as him.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I urge Ethan to talk to
Hey,
Sam
here it
Cedar.
is.
There are very thoughtful, very kind, anti-Zionist Jews out there that he could talk to. I don't think that I will be able to reach him.
What's the insinuation that I only listen to other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved...
Jewishness is irrelevant to Ethan. No, it's not. That's not the point. The fuck me. The problem is that Hassan is acting as if Hassan is the one who's acting as if Ethan needs a Jew to persuade him. Like he won't be persuaded by any non-Jew. Like because again, like in Hassan's view, any Jew who's like a Zionist is a Jewish supremacist. That's what he thinks it is. He thinks Zionism is when you think Jews are better than everyone else. And that's Hassan's like little fucking quiet way of saying like, well, even though my arguments are incredibly well thought out and very coherent, you won't listen to me, because I'm a filthy Turk or whatever. Like, because the Jews are famous for oppressing Turks. I didn't even know Sam wanted to talk to Ethan. I thought he didn't. Weird.
List of Jews.
Sorry, Hassan. Like Hassan will never really say this openly. He'll just kind of, he knows it's a thing. He'll just never try to, he wants to kind of keep it on the down low. But the problem is that anti-Zionist Jews are a minority, like amongst Jews. Most Jews would meet Hassan's threshold for being a Zionist easily. It's a fact.
That like agree with me on everything. It doesn't matter if they're Jewish, dude. It doesn't matter if they're fucking Jewish.
I think most Jews.
I don't think Jews
this
at
is
large
great.
view it. I don't think that is the.
In what position are you to even say that?
It's
You
not
speak for my
motivated by
entire ethnic
myself.
group.
It's motivated
That's
by
crazy to me.
Jews against anti-Zionist
No,
Jews.
seriously, how can you speak for my entire ethnic group? I find that really interesting.
Ethan, I don't know what to
Bro,
fucking...
these are two completely different conversations. One is about Hassan trying to weasel around the fact that most Jews don't agree with his position on Palestine and Zionism. The other is Hassan saying, "Oh, I tried to get him to talk to one of my Jew friends because I don't think I can do it. You know, it's beyond my capabilities now as one of the largest political creators in the world. We need to get a good anti-Zionist Jew to talk to." These are two completely different conversations. God, this guy's stupid. Fuck.
I can tell you, this is like step one of having a leftist ideology is recognizing our race, religion, nationality, all this shit, all shape our experiences as people.
That's the reason why it'd be better served to have this conversation not with myself, but with an anti-Zionist Jewish person.
Why does it matter if they're Jewish?
Because I'm not Jewish, and you've said in this conversation that, like, how can you tell me how to feel about the situation?
No, they're talking about what the majority of Jews believe. I remember this debate. This debate was about what the majority of Jews in the world believe. And Hassan kept on saying, "Oh, but Jewish voice for peace." Yeah, fucking Jewish voice for peace. The fact that you're literally scrambling to find a handful of organizations that are quite small in the global context is because you know that the majority of the Jews in the world don't agree with you. That actually, the majority of the Jews in the world, with the way they answer questions about Israel, would make you think that they were fucking Nazis. But I mean, that's just your own issue to wrestle with, I guess.
Yeah, but how is one person a representative of Jews at large? I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
Why don't you just, look at the data? Okay.
On
he was just saying interpret that phrase, river to the sea. Just because IDubbbz thinks it's disinformation or propaganda to say that river to the sea means there's no more Israel. Eesh.
You might be suggested to talk to someone who has some crossover with you. It doesn't have to be your ethnicity. It could possibly be someone who shares progressive ideology with you. It could possibly be someone...
But so does Hassan. I thought it was the overlap there that was explicitly referred to by Hassan was the fact that they were Jewish.
Who is of your same gender. I think Ethan understands this concept very well. He listened to these women on his show when they told him that he shouldn't be calling women bitches.
This bitch is intolerable. You are such a nasty fucking bitch, Ken.
I don't know if you can call her a bitch though.
She is a bitch. She's a fucking bitch.
Okay,
I call her a see you next Tuesday.
Listen, you have.
I'm curious, what do Lena and Sam think about it?
I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
I feel like that it's for the girlies, Ethan. But I
So
agree.
you guys all seem to be in consensus that it's in poor form.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fact. Is like, people would have, if these people didn't spend the last year and a half denying the rapes on October 7th, they'd actually have a pretty strong leg to stand on here with Ethan having the tendency to engage in misogyny. Because I think, calling women, like, even if they're like shit women, like calling them bitches is just like, there's a lot more social fucking like language that's being spoken there when you do that. Like, you shouldn't really do it. Where's my B word apology? I never called you a B word. What? I intentionally stopped myself from that, actually, buddy.
I think to respect the women here in the room,
Buddy.
I'm going to have to pass on saying that.
The infantilization of Ethan Klein is fucking nauseating. He's not a child. He is absolutely capable of looking into Hassan, learning about his politics, interviewing, doing loads of things to figure out where he stands.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
And for the first time, I noticed an inordinate amount of radical, hardcore leftists. I mean, I thought we were social democrats, not whatever this was. This comment from Hassan really started to sound some alarms in my head. I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership. I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
You made how many episodes with Hassan? Like, this guy made a fucking program with the biggest mega leftist on the platform. Now he's acting like he was...
To be fair, I don't know about the whole like being surprised about Hassan being a communist. The problem with using words like socialist or communist is that, and socialists and communists do this, is that they wriggle around with the definition of that word so fucking shamelessly that they can probably get away with that kind of thing. But the fact is that I think Ethan was probably surprised, and you could see it because this is when it started becoming like viewable by when it started becoming news almost in the content sphere, was when Hassan was defending fucking like China, when he's defending the CCP, right? When he was downplaying like what happened in Tibet or what happened with the Uyghurs. Like that was, or Taiwan. Like that was where you probably wouldn't expect that based on a first interaction with Hassan, because Hassan does do that. He downplays his true ideological goals, and he's admitted to it as well. Like in the clip from the deprogram, he's admitted to that. And also, even me, like I was a Hassan hate watcher long before October 7th. You know, I made a couple of videos about him being wrong about all kinds of shit. But man, even I was very surprised by the fact that he wouldn't just disown Second Thought for saying that there are no Israeli civilians, when he wouldn't disown the Deprogram podcast for their views on Israelis. Like that was insane to me. And then over time, I think you can even find a clip of me around November or December 2023, when I'm basically saying, talking about Yemen and how people don't really have an interest in Yemen because you can't really pick a side. Like you might hate Saudi, but who's going to support the Houthis? You can probably find a clip of me saying that. Like I was so surprised to see that people would actually start being like friendly towards the fucking Houthis. Same with Hezbollah, same with Hamas. Like, but they did. Hassan literally just wrote off the Second Thought thing as what a different school of thought he tried to call it. Like that's insane. So yeah, you would be surprised to hear that your lefty progressive friend is defending like Islamic fundamentalists who target civilians. Like that's a very strange thing for a normal person to encounter. Hassan might have never called himself a liberal, but Hassan does present himself as the kind of socialist, depending on which environment he's in, who just wants healthcare and progressive taxes. He does do that. And he admits to doing that.
Tricked, and he was incapable of figuring out what this guy's beliefs.
Who has it actually? Who has the video from Leftovers? If anyone has the clip from Leftovers of Hassan being confronted by that Second Thought clip, by Ethan with that Second Thought clip. Does anyone have that? If anyone has that, they can put it in stream suggestions in the Discord, because that's like a really useful, that'd be quite useful for this.
Bro, I didn't make the fucking leftist program. You did. You made fucking, what, 60 some odd episodes of this shit for hours talking to this guy? You didn't have a problem with any of it until, Ethan talks about being aware of Hassan's 9/11 comments and then sort of leaves it.
It also wasn't that. They also started to have a bit of friction over the CCP in China and like Russia, Ukraine and stuff like that. They were already being a little bit awkward about the capitalism, socialism thing before October 7th.
That. Like it was just a joke. Actually, I think Ethan describes them as edgy moments or jokes.
You might remember him from such classics as
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
Now, to be clear, I knew about all these edgy and controversial jokes at the time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't jokes, right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand.
It's not a joke that America deserved 9/11? Okay. God, this guy's so stupid. What's the point? What's the point of explaining anything? Let's just watch him. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Go for it. Why not? So Hassan is a terrorist then? Because if it's not a joke, then that is actually pro-terrorist.
Who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't jokes, right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would...
Didn't he say this literally just like 2 seconds after saying that Dan Crenshaw got his fucking eye hole fucked by a Mujahideen brave soldier? Of course that's joking. Of course he's joking. What?
Conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hassan a little bit more and found out what his international politics opinions are. But you wouldn't even need to do that. You can look at it online.
Yeah, but Hassan wouldn't have said, yeah, I actually wasn't joking. I was sincerely expressing my anger with American imperialism. No, he wouldn't say that. Hassan would say, yeah, it probably wasn't the best thing to say, but you know, all that aside, one has to remember that the American imperialism, the damage, the destruction, and the genocide of Israel, that's probably what he would say, you know, something like that.
You're not a victim. You weren't tricked. You made 60 some odd episodes. If you didn't want to go down this route, you shouldn't have done it. But that was your fucking choice. You did it. You are an adult. When Ethan and Hila are watching Matt Lieb saying that one state doesn't represent all Jews, they cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
No single person represents all Jews.
I'm just telling you how Jewish people around.
No single person represents all Jews.
Oh, that's Matt Lieb. This guy's absolutely fucking insane.
I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
No single person represents all Jews as.
That's saying that's not you representing them. That's you appealing to some consensus or some majority opinion. And maybe it's wrong. Maybe most Jews actually don't give a fuck when they hear from the earth to the sea. We know that all Israelis do, so that's almost half of them. So it's not hard to find a majority of them who probably are unsure about that phrase. Unless you have any counter evidence. Yeah.
No single state represents all Jews.
Whoa.
This is another weird thing.
Oh my God.
Israel. This is a lie that I see Hassan and people pander. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf of Judaism. They have never. I don't believe that that's ever been stated, and I don't think Israel ever explains that it's like. I think Israel says it's a place where Jews can go.
Israel's just a.
I don't know if they ever say that they're doing it on behalf of Judaism, because when people say Judaism, it sounds like they're talking about the religion. But there are people who think that just because Israel's a Jewish state, that means it's like a religious fundamentalist state, which is silly. That's not really how that works. But no, I mean, Israel, even especially now with the Likud, like Israel sees itself as the safe space for Jews in the world. Like that's the progressive way to put it. They see the country as the place where Jews can live and not suffer persecution. And some Jews will actually say that, yeah, I prefer the odd fear of like a rocket or a bomb or a terrorist attack than just spending every single day worrying about like my Jewishness being exposed in the wrong area or like hate crimes or whatever. Yeah, some people just prefer that, and that's usually how that goes. But yeah, no, like Israel does see itself as kind of like the safe haven for global Jews. That's why they try to encourage Jews from around the world to go there. But okay.
Place Jews can go? With that slogan, we might actually have peace. You know, if that's all you're defining Israel as, is a place Jews can go. Like, sure, it sounds like America to me.
Well, no. America being just a place Jews can go would Palestine or Israel being a place Jews can go would still be a problem. What is IDOP's like a two-stater now, or what's he talking about? That's actually a problem for a lot of these people, though. It's a problem for people like Frogan. Frogan doesn't want them to be in Israel. She wants them to be in Brooklyn. But yeah, I don't know. This guy, he's just fucking lodged himself into this discourse without knowing anything about it. You can tell like the way he's talking about each particular issue. Like he's just betraying his ignorance so blatantly. Where's the Frogan clip where she's saying that they should go back to Brooklyn? What is a Druze? Not that one, is it? Oh, it is. It is, because this was the this was the what do you call it? The how many mistakes can you make in one sentence in 1 minute? This was the Frogan 60-second challenge. It was, she says so many things in this. It's not the Druze thing, it's the fucking go back to Brooklyn, right?
Just one day after the October 7th massacre a year ago, Hezbollah joined the war against Israel. It launched an unprovoked attack on our cities, killing civilians without distinctions, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Druze.
Okay, so they said that...
What the fuck is a Druze? Brilliant.
They're
Druze
killing
we talked about last
Oh, yeah.
time. It
Druze.
was,
Druze. There was the village in the Golan Heights. The Hezeb rocket came down and hit kids playing soccer.
It did, yeah. This guy will try. I remember this guy tries to say that no one else agreed with that. That's not true. Hezbollah claimed responsibility for a strike in the area. They said that they were firing rockets at the area. A rocket hits the Majd al-Shams where the kids are playing football. It leaves an explosion far too big to be an IDF interceptor, because IDF interceptors have a self-destruct for one. And even when that self-destruct doesn't go off, the explosion is too small to be what was in that video. But yeah.
But everyone says Israel shot the rocket down and it hit the kids
But
playing soccer.
everyone in what, your social media feed? Fuck off.
That was in the Golan Heights. Muslims, it killed one person in Palestine. It hasn't killed any Christian Palestinians that I'm aware of, or any Christian Israelis, and it hasn't. I don't think.
Druze.
And I think it killed.
Why did she do that? Is that her looking up on her phone?
It hasn't killed any Christian Palestinians that I'm aware of, or any Christian Israelis, and it hasn't. I don't think.
Druze.
What the? Okay.
And I think it killed Jews. I think
Are they Italian or what's that pronunciation?
it killed IDF soldiers. So I think
Oh.
Hezeb has not killed anyone else.
Israel has decided to put an end to this. We've decided to do whatever is necessary to
Yeah, they
return
haven't killed any. They only displaced like 70,000 people. But
our people safely to their homes.
By killing people.
Israel has a right to defend.
Listen to this part.
Israel also has a right to win, and Israel will win.
Israel has a right to win is fucking insane.
everything about this video is so fucking stupid. This is like the most amazing 1 minute and 23 seconds. Like, how much fucking nonsense? Why is it insane to say that Israel has a right to win? Well, against an army that's attacking them? Yeah, probably.
Insane. To win what?
Return to where? To Lebanon?
No, what they're
And
saying.
this fucking he's talking about the displaced people returning to northern Israel. Brogan doesn't even know. Why did I watch this again? Oh yeah, they go back to Brooklyn. Brogan doesn't even know what he's talking about. People returning. He thought there were what, settlers returning to Lebanon? No, it's Israelis wanting to return to the north of Israel. Fuck me.
Thing is they're trying. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to get rid of. He's bullshitting. The people, okay, he's got over 100,000 people in northern Israel that will not go back to their settlements in northern Israel.
Goodbye. Go back to fucking Brooklyn, bitch. Like, you have your fucking house there.
Okay. So
True. Northern Israel, famously full of Brooklyners. That's what happened when I was there, you know? Couldn't get away from it. You got like a fucking Hezbollah rocket crashes in the field and sets a fire, and then all you hear is a bunch of fucking northern Israeli Jews being like, hey, I'm walking here. What is this guy? Some kind of an asshole? Jeez Louise. That's all I could hear.
Like, all right.
I don't think that Israel said they represent all Jews. I don't think that's a stance. We're like, hey, displacing Palestinians is all Jewish people.
Ethan is being so disingenuous here to suggest that he doesn't understand what Matt Lieb is saying. Like, he's making a semantic argument. Like, I don't think Israel has said that it represents every last Jew on the planet. I don't think Israel has claimed that. They're not going to say that their most genocidal behavior represents anything to do with them, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to inexplicably link Israel and Jewishness together, so when they're being criticized, all of a sudden, they have the perfect defense. Oh, another thing I need to mention.
I love it that people just think that Israel is like, the way that these guys tell this story is so fucking stupid. It's like, okay, you think that Israel is just any other Western white colony, but they just happen to be Jewish, so they just use that fact as a way to excuse what they did and what they're doing. That's it. Like, what? Surely you would not look back and like, okay, why did a bunch of Jews end up in that area? Like, why did they go there? Like, why didn't they go somewhere? You would ask so many different questions. It's not just like, oh, we're just like exactly the same as fucking the French in Algeria, but we're just gonna, thank God we're Jewish and we get away with it. No. The fact that they're Jewish is the entire fucking reason they ended up there, right? The fact that they're Jewish is the reason that people fled Russia. It's the same reason people fled Europe in the 20s. It's the reason that people who wanted to flee Europe to America after 25 couldn't go because America capped immigration massively. They set quotas to keep more Jews from going there. Why did they go during the Holocaust and the war? Well, it's because they couldn't go anywhere else, because the fucking Evian conference and every other country in Europe and the Western world was like, no, not our problem. Fuck off. Like, yeah. And then after the fucking backlash of the 48 war takes place in all the Arab and North African countries, why do they all end up going to Israel, barring like some Algerians going to France? Well, it's because that's the only place they could fucking go. It's not just like, oh yeah, we do all the bad colonial shit. By the way, we're Jewish. It's fine. No, the fact that they're Jewish actually is a pretty important part of the story. It's a pretty important variable into how they ended up there, why they stayed there, why they don't want to go anywhere else. Eek.
There was a tier list. It was called the Who Can Say Habibi tier list. It was presented at TwitchCon as like a panel that was just meant to be lighthearted and fun. And Ethan Klein saw that, and he decided that it was anti-Semitic.
Tier list, and we're going to need your help to discuss and figure out who can say Habibi and who can't.
And also, we have tiers. We have Arab coded. They ask permission to say Habibi. You know, like you got like a white guy who's like, can I say it? Is it a slur? And then love Sabra, which is they're not Arab coded at all.
Now, when I first saw this tier list, I immediately knew what it was doing. I was like, oh, it's a play on the who has the N-word pass and who doesn't tier list. Granted, Habibi is very different than the N-word, but it is a cultural word amongst Arabic-speaking people and Muslim people. Like that is a word that's used. Habibi, it means my love. Oh no, don't do that, Habibi. Oh yes, Habibi. You're my Habibi, I'm your
telling
Habibi.
us what's what.
So yes, it's meant to be a fun way that these Arab content creators can express their Arab culture and be proud of it and happy about it. Because it's not like they have
why is it expressing your Arab culture by shitting on like Sabra hummus? Unless like, he's actually giving it away a little bit as well. Like defining yourself in opposition. Well, yeah, like Arab explaining. It's the problem with the Sabra tier, with that tier list of Arab at the top and like Sabra at the bottom. And these people have said it as well. Like that fucking Milhouse guy said it, and so did Rogan. They've said this about Sabra. They think that Israelis, that Jews do not belong in the Middle East because they'll say that Israelis only eat hummus and they only made Sabra because a bunch of white Ashkenazis came over, found Arabs eating hummus, thought it was quaint, murdered them all, and then stole the fucking recipe and made it shit and Western. That's not what happened. Israeli Jews eat hummus because most Israeli Jews are from the Middle East. That's why they eat Middle Eastern food. That is why that particular specific hatred of Sabra and calling it cultural appropriation and all that shit basically betrays a dishonest interpretation of Jewish history. It's them just denying Jewish history and like why and Jewish connection to the Middle East. That's it. That's all. That's what it's about. That's why it's problematic. Problematic.
Massive representation on the platform.
Making a tier list based on race. And nobody has a fucking problem with that. Okay, you have a tier list based on race. Where's the Jewish panel? Where's the Jewish panel? Where at the top it says Jewish. It's a tier list based on
put Jew at the top and then put watches Al Jazeera at the bottom. You know, how can you defend Al Jazeera? Al Jazeera is really bad. Qatari state media. Slave economy.
To Jew. He's Arab, which is good. That's the best thing you can be on this. That's the best. This is racist.
I will say that conveying information through a tier list is not the most effective thing, but Ethan should understand this principle. He did a white slurs tier list with Hassan.
Cracker.
I mean, you know what my take is.
We can't put this as an F. Cracker. I mean, that's got to be at least a D, right?
Pale face motherfucker.
Pale face. I mean, again, I think that's an F. Hog.
So hog is my favorite. I use it all the time.
Him and Hassan feel as though they are white guys, so they felt very comfortable talking about white slurs on their tier list.
I think I'm more white than you. What do you think?
I think I'm white. Like, I'm super white.
Yeah.
Can you understand why Arabs might feel comfortable talking about Arab shit on their tier list, Ethan?
That's not what they're talking. Does he think it's like a racist tier list because they're talking about saying Habibi? This guy's, he's so out of his depth. He is so out of his depth. He's just followed this because it's popular. That's the only reason he's here. Like, how confused, how eternally fucking confused do you have to be? The complaint isn't that it's about a Habibi pass. It's not what it's about. The problem is with the implication that like Sabra is culturally appropriated by fucking white colonizer Israelis, which is what these people on that panel believe. These people. Wow.
White guy, you think you're more white than Hassan.
I think I'm more white than you.
So yeah, the white guy can say all the things that he wants, like cracker, but the Arabs can't have their tier list.
I would put him also an Arab. I know Turkish people are different.
Notice how they dropped the premise almost immediately that it's about who can say Habibi. And then it's like Hassan, okay, actually he's Arab. We fucking love him. He's dope. He's Arab.
Habibi is an Arabic word. That is an Arabic word, Ethan.
Funny about this.
What? Does he think Turks speak Arabic?
I don't know. Who knows? Okay, the tier list thing is killing me because it would be like a bunch of white people making a white people slur tier list and then having the bottom level be like likes fried chicken.
Yep.
Like, I'm losing my mind. How does he not? He's so fucking dumb. Okay, I had to say that. I'll get out of your head. All right, talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That would be insensitive. Because you know the real people who like fried chicken are Yemenis. They have a KFC in Yemen. I know that thanks to Hassan's journalism. Would never have known that otherwise.
This whole thing is that they say Habibi in Israel. Again, people underestimate just how like mixed Israeli culture is. Like
we say Habibi in Israel. Yes,
hey,
Ethan. Another piece of evidence as to why it isn't anti-Semitic.
This is racist.
If you're not Arab or understand Arab culture at all, which is a lot of Americans, and Ethan Klein presents you this tier list and calls it anti-Semitic.
Bro, this guy has just made the most incoherent fucking argument possible. He's implied very... He's implied
something
that...
wrong with your headphones?
What? No, why?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, isn't it weird that none of those people talking about that tier list actually speak Arabic?
Well, I don't know if they don't or do. I guess I've never heard any of them speak Arabic.
We both know that none of those.
I think one of those
people
guys is an Arabic speaker, but okay, yeah.
He's probably a diaspora Arabic speaker, which means like he knows Sabah al Khair.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Morning the
Yuf
good.
halak.
Morning the good.
Morning the good.
Sabah al Nur. Okay.
That's the response to Sabah al Khair. Good job.
I know it is. It means morning the light.
Oh.
That's how it translates to English. It's morning the
don't
good, and the response is morning the light.
Don't translate to English.
That's amazing. That's such a good translation. Who the fuck talks like that?
I know, but it's
no wonder they're so passionate about everything.
It sounds like you're like a fucking cringe writer who's trying to make their own language when you're translating it to English. It sounds so bad.
I like it.
Morning to light so stupid.
No, I think people who speak English should say that. They should say morning the good, and they should respond morning the light. That's wonderful. What are you talking about?
Well, there's more. There's I forgot how we say like for evening and well, Tisbah al-Khair. Do you know Tisbah al-Khair?
No.
Tisbah al-Khair means may you wake up to good news.
Oh.
Which is how we say good night.
Oh. Very forward thinking.
Yeah, and then people wake up to their relative dying.
Listen, I know you're trying to be all fucking authentic, okay? But I've already got iDubbbz here to tell me what's what about Arab culture, okay?
Listen,
this
bro,
is a waste of time. You coming in here with this fucking...
Isn't he like an expert on the N-word? That's all I know about iDubbbz.
Yeah. Didn't Arabs used to own slaves? Or yeah, same thing.
Not our Arabs. The fucking Gulf Arabs did. Our Arabs were too poor. It's just like that white guy that said, you know how expensive a slave was back then?
Yeah.
Do you remember that clip? That fucking Confederate flag guy?
I do, yeah.
The fucking, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Wait, do iDubbbz have an N-word to us or what?
No, iDubbbz is notoriously known for saying the N-word. He just says it for like...
Yeah, but he also cried, so he did cry, so he's over it now. All good.
Why did he get like irrelevant. I certainly did something. I never found out why.
I mean, the way he comes off now is someone who probably built himself as a big fucking 2016 pre that edgelord who did all the edgy shit, but then decided that he wasn't in that environment anymore, cried about it, but is now trying to reinvent himself in a way that's just not working. Or he's just doing, he did the N-word and all the edgelord shit at the time because it was really popular, but now it's really popular to be a fucking toxic soy lefty. So he's doing that instead.
Okay, so I want to just address what David said. He's talking about the crembo dessert. He's saying never ask Seb what they call the crembo dessert in Arabic. Apparently, in some countries, they call it ras al-abid, which means the head of a slave. But he neglected the fact that Jewish people call it kushi, which is basically the N-word in Hebrew.
Whoa.
See?
Don't say that.
Yeah. Well, listen, you shouldn't have dropped that now,
That's
Seth.
crazy.
You're going to have to apologize and cry now.
Oh, my bad. I'll go cry off stream.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
All right.
You're just going to eat it up. It's not. Ethan is just proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand Arab culture. There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra. There's a lot of people like me who eat Sabra. A lot of the times, it's all that's in the store.
Every time this guy says that, it's because he doesn't understand Arab culture. Oh God, it's killing me. He's killing. He doesn't. He has no idea what the argument is about Sabra. Okay.
Buy it, and I'm gonna eat it, but it is not the good shit. Like the average Arab American, they're gonna go in the store, and the only option they have is fucking Sabra, and
that's just not true, though. I'm sorry. I've been to the United States like 3 or 4 times now. Every shop, every big fucking Walmart or Trader Joe's, whatever the fuck, they all have a shit ton of hummus. They have the boar's head, whatever. They've got fucking cedars. They've got Sabra. They've got there's so many. What the fuck? There's like some Jerusalem shit. Like there's so many different. Okay. Only option. It's not. It's 60%. It's not the only option. My God, I went to these American supermarkets. I've never seen so much hummus in one place.
Sucks that that's the only option, right? Arab communities and distribution facilities are not widespread across the U.S. So what are they left with? They're left with a common, relatable, shitty hummus, which is Sabra. And what's so fucking pathetic about this whole thing is after he was able to get these Arab creators banned off of Twitch for 30 days, he goes on to talk about how bad Sabra hummus is on his show.
I don't think anybody prefers Sabra over homemade like restaurant quality hummus. You know, it's what's there.
Like weirdly fluffy.
It is
Sabra.
fluffy.
Weird.
Yeah.
I would buy it sometimes and eat it. It's not the best.
The problem is with Sabra, in my opinion, it's only good for the first 2 days.
For some reason, like when you eat this Sabra shit, it just feels so much heavier. And imagine eating a whole fucking vat of Sabra. That's crazy.
Yeah. I've never liked hummus.
Oh, okay.
Well, you hate Jews then.
I don't.
And Arabs.
Yeah.
This is racist.
Yeah, it's almost like you can have a discussion about Sabra hummus being a bad hummus without it being at all related.
Yeah, really. It's almost if you can, but that's not the point, is it? The people on that tier list panel don't think it's just bad because it just happens to be because it's store brand. That's the reason it's bad. The reason it's not great is because it's store brand. Because it's full of preservatives, and that's what you need to make it last more than 2 days. Yeah, that's why it's bad. Yeah. But that's not really why, is it? That's not really why they think that. They think there's something extra about Sabra that makes it worse, which is that it's colonizer.
To a Jewish thing or an Israeli thing, he can have that discussion as much as he wants on his podcast because we all know his intentions aren't anti-Semitic.
This is what he did. He hit his heart hard.
The Zionism is leading to not accepting other cultures, embracing their own culture, and instead thinking that that is an attack on you. There's this incident on the podcast where they were reacting to Cutie Cinderella, and Ethan was laughing during it. So that ended up being a pretty important wake-up call for Ethan. He made an apology video directed at Cutie Cinderella, and it was graded by a professional psychologist, Dr. Kirk Honda of Psychology in Seattle, and Ethan got an A+ rating.
In terms of a public apology, this is A+.
Ethan won't stop talking about his A+ rating.
You know, he rated my apology to Cutie Cinderella a perfect score, a perfect 10.
A perfect 10 out of 10?
Literally 10 out of 10. Go back. I can teach you how to make a
Right.
good apology. I'm the
Right,
best at
10
it.
out of 10.
I know what a perfect apology is, lady. You fucking don't. Is my perfect apology in this PowerPoint? Dude, I got a perfect 10 out of 10. This one is actually best apology, so. Ethan Klein, you guys, oh my God.
I was trying really hard to think about an impactful moment during this video. Like, could I do something that would really wake Ethan
This
up?
is the out of context crowd, by the way. Yeah, I know, but that's the golden rule. You know, if it comes from the Destiny subreddit, it's bad, and if it comes from the Snark subreddit, it's good. That's. Did you not get the rules? This is Hassan's playground. Okay, we do what he says. That's how you do it.
And I don't know if this came from a good place or not, but I came up with the idea of getting Ethan's grade changed from an A to a B at least. So I went to visit psychology in Seattle. I'm not confident that Kirk will change his grade, but it's worth trying. And, you know, we might learn a thing or two.
Xander! Probably get pretty low marks. Unlike me, perfect score, 10. I said, hey, Lud, no wig drama. Why are you such a spineless coward of a person now that you've inserted yourself and your girlfriend into this conversation?
Okay, iDubbbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I guess have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology as I see it without taking any consideration of prior.
Bro, this is like getting a fucking therapist to reassure you that the people who you hate are actually really bad people. Oh, fuck.
Future behavior. If you're wanting me to comment on the overall behavior or the recent behavior from the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person, and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize, and I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade. But that's okay, because this is the internet. Anyone can have their own official apology rating system. So I'm going to rate Ethan's apology a B-. That's just based on my own feelings and my own rubric. When Psychology in Seattle was watching these video clips of Ethan...
I love how that bit in the middle, it was like 20 or 30 minutes in when he was trying to appeal to Ethan's better nature as a human and to be like, listen, we still... there's still a way out of this this crash out that you're experiencing. And now he's like trying to downgrade his apology. Oh God, it's so transparent. Man, if I was Ethan, I would be so fucking fuming. Fuck.
He said that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. Now, of course, it kind of pisses me off to hear that shit because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs.
Whoa.
I think something that's very important to me in bringing back Content Cop is to be fair. I think that was something that was not illustrated in previous Content Cops.
I love that tactic because I love that. That's a brilliant tactic. Just to be the most uncharitable, most unfair, most bad faith, most out of context piece of shit you can possibly be, but just every now and then when you remember to remind people of how good faith you are. Always. That's a good one.
I think should have been, and probably wouldn't have left me with so much regret. Ethan deserves all of the criticism that he's getting. I think it's very valid. But I also think, at the end of the day, we should acknowledge that he's human because he is human. And he is in a situation that's making him extremely scared, paranoid, defensive, sensitive, and I'm sure other features and feelings. In the spirit of Kirk saying that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug, I have challenged some of his most powerful haters to put down the haterade and just say something nice and charitable about him, because I think he deserves it.
I just wanted to say that I respect that you are genuinely yourself on the internet. I think a lot of other people respect you for it as well. I think that's a big reason why people were drawn to your content in the first place. I think that's a lot of the reason why your employees chose to work with you over anyone else.
Ethan, I think it's respectable that you even began this journey to leave behind the anti-SJW crowd and step into a more empathetic worldview. I know it's not easy.
Ethan
Bro, half of these people literally fucking celebrate violence against their political opponents. What are we talking about? A more empathetic world? Bro, I'm just saying, if you find this little gesture, these aren't even compliments. They're like backhanded compliments. You used to be good. Like, this is, yeah, listen, I think you've really got it in you to come out of this and stop being a shit person. If you fall for this, you should literally just be in a fucking home for the rest of your life. Like, what the fuck? Like, how do you interact with the real world? No wonder they thought Ethan was a horrible employer, because these guys couldn't get a real job. They couldn't. Be impossible.
line. I think that when you are being goofy, when you're being silly, when you are being lighthearted, and just having fun with
I
your
like it
friends.
when you're crashing the symbols together like a little fucking monkey. Yeah, I love it when you do that, Ethan. Just please stop having your incredibly ignorant takes on the Israel-Palestine conflict. By the way, here's our next guest, Bad Empanada, here to tell us about how all Zionists are Nazis and they deserve to be put in re-education camps, and that every fucking Israeli civilian is actually a military target, and how maybe sixth time lucky the axis of resistance and the people surrounding the fucking state of Israel will actually be able to pull off a military incursion that destroys the entire country. You know, maybe just shut the fuck up about all that stuff, Ethan. Maybe just stop saying that Hamas attacking Israel wasn't actually a really good idea. Come on, Ethan. Come on, stay in your lane. Now, let's talk about how the reason that 800,000 Middle Eastern Jews ended up in Israel was really just because of the French, or because of Zionist posters. Oh, fuck. Stay in your lane, Ethan. Now let's watch Hassan talk about how the Al Ali hospital was struck by a JDAM because of the sound of the whistle.
friends. I think that is when you're at your best. So I'd love to see more of that. That'd be sick.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports for good that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
I think Ethan Klein rocks a buzz cut pretty good, and I think he's got a good choice of facial hair. I think it's really cool what he did 8 years ago, fighting that frivolous lawsuit. That was pretty fucked up, and fighting it, he changed YouTube for the better. And I thought that was cool because I thought it was like he was fighting for free speech.
That's a good one, because Noah's getting sued for defamation. Well done, Noah. Well done. Well done. Why would you do this for someone who you think supports a genocide? Why would you do this? First of all, like the fakest, most sociopathic, we're actually your friends and your fans intervening to appeal to your better nature. Why would you do that for someone who you think is supporting a genocide? Bizarre.
I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Neil. I'm like, fuck, like, it's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, if that doesn't always help them.
Right.
Wait, is this recent or is this him? Is this when he apologized for saying the N-word and cried? Is this him crying about? What's he? When's this from? Is the guy's in the same shirt? What is this? Jordan Peterson. What am I watching here? This is from the same session. The same.
It was cool because I thought it was like
it's for this video.
Free speech.
You know, I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Neela. I'm like, fuck, like.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Ethan and
It's
Neela.
really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them.
And I have been kind of slipping into a very unhealthy place where it's gotten worse and worse, and I get criticized more and more, and I get more defensive and more pulled up, a feeling of almost infallibility that I could take anything on. It led me to make a lot of mistakes.
This is quite an old.
And then when I was criticized for those mistakes, then I would
call this evil if it wasn't just so fucking retarded. It's so stupid, man. It's like emotional manipulation works in the real world because you're doing it in real time, right? Like it works. If someone's emotionally manipulating you, you're not like able to go back and replay something that they said, or you're not sitting there from just like the perspective of a viewer watching a film. Like everything's moving quite fast, and if you're being gaslit, like it's really easy to gaslight someone in person, because if you have enough confidence with what you're saying and everything, then yeah, someone can you can convince someone that you didn't actually say the thing that you said half an hour ago or anything like that. But to do it in a video is just, or like the crying as well, because I think a lot of like abusive people will sometimes, like, that crying is sometimes something that abusive people will do because it gets them out of the situation. Like maybe someone's confronting them on something they just don't want to be confronted again about, so they'll just cry. And it's like, well, you can't fucking scream at someone or try to hold someone to it when they're crying. You know, you just have to. And then you've made the conversation about them. But like him doing it in this video, in like a video format, is just very. It doesn't have the same effect. It's just kind of funny, like impotent.
Extremely defensive and nasty and not really processing them in a healthy way.
Wow. Well, hey, listen, Ethan, you know, you're a good guy, or you were. You were a good guy like 10 years ago. And, you know, we liked it when you were funny and when you were attacking people that we did like you attacking. But you're out of your depth, you know. You need to stay in your lane. Not talking about this conflict that you clearly know nothing about and actually have very reprehensible takes of. By the way, here's why all the rapes on October 7th, bar one, didn't happen. Fuck me. Stay in your lane, Ethan. Stay in your lane. Also, here's why Israel only attacked Lebanon, because they were just there. You know, there's no reason for it. Yeah. Stay in your lane, Ethan. Come on, you're so ignorant. Check your privilege. Also, here's how Hezbollah can still win. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Also, here's why the Houthis actually have legal claim over an international shipping route in the Red Sea and are actually allowed to block ships and kidnap the crew. And that's what Palestinians need more of. Stay in your lane, Ethan. Stay in your lane. Here's why the Palestinians in Gaza who are protesting against Hamas are actually fake, and we shouldn't pay attention to them. Fucking brilliant. Stay in your lane, Ethan. Here's why Jelani is an Israeli collaborator. Fuck. I hate these people so much, man. Disgusting. Oh well. What a brain dead video. That might be the worst. That might be the worst video I've seen for like drama slop or anything like that since DJ Mule. That might be the worst video since the DJ Mule video about Xanderhall. Did we ever find the second thought leftovers? Yeah, the clip where Hassan is trying to answer for second thought. Yeah. Nice flat. Thanks, Wicked Supreme. Yeah. Yeah. Look at it. Look at this pad. Let me find it. I'll be able to find it because I reacted to it. It is where he spoke about settler babies, for sure. I just need to search. You're not doing a fucking house tour. Shut up. Shut up. But I think Baby Settlers was part of the video. It was. Nope, not that one.